back to Identity Cars here.
This was a fresh-faced me at the beginning of my YouTube journey, introducing one of the cars that would go on to feature greatly on the channel over the years, the Nissan Pulsar GTIR. The car was moved from where is now a very different workshop up to my house where it was abandoned, but not for much longer.
It's finally time for the car everyone's been waiting on the channel. It's time for the Nissan Pulsar GTIR to finally get the attention it deserves.
I've owned this car for around 8 years now. We've been through some ups and some downs. And in that time, I've been scammed. I've had it on the road and then back off the road again. It's tried to kill me. And basically, it sat in the background while every other car got attention. But that's all about to change.
I'm a little bit excited about this. It's finally time that the Pulsar gets the attention it deserves. We're going to get it back on the road and start some road trips. We've got some things teamed up for the Pulsar that we want to do, so it's time finally to bring it out. We've got a few cars to move to get it out of its current position and a few pieces to attach back onto it as well to get it up and running and movable. What we're going to do today in this episode is we're going to put it on the ramp, give you guys a more in-depth of the car's current condition and show you what the first job that we need to tackle on the car to get it back on the road.
First job I have to do is reattach the dump valve. This was robbed off the Pulsar to fit on the Subaru temporarily. Refitting this makes sure we don't have any huge gaps in the chain and lose boost pressure while the engine is running. I also need to check the coolant level to make sure we have enough in the system. And lastly, we need to inflate the tyre in order for the car to move.
Right, the car's finally back down in the workshop. First things first, I'm going to give you guys a slightly better introduction to the Pulsar than the very first Pulsar video that I put up. The last time the car was down here in this workshop, the workshop was completely different. The Pulsar was packed over there was nothing in here. But it is a dedicated space now to work on the cars, customers' cars as well as my own cars. I've got a gap that I've created to specifically work on this car. So I'm going to give you a slightly better introduction onto the Pulsar than the last time. Now, what we're going to do is, I've never had the Pulsar on the ramp. It's any time I've ever worked on it because it's been with me for 8 years, way before I had all this equipment. So we can get a better look into the car and show you guys better underneath and stuff into the car. So we're going to get a better description. This area here, paintwork required. I'm just going to dive right in here, guys. I punched that. I might have explained that in the last episode. The car got stuck in the ice down a slope at the back garden. The back garden was completely different. I took a huff and I punched it. So that's going to need fixed. You can see that the paintwork isn't the best on it. It used to be yellow. Paint job was done before I picked it up. Some of it started to crack back through. I don't think they prepped it properly. Coming around the back, it's completely welded and is going to need a big clean. We're going to need to get new plates because those look horrendous now. I want that exhaust off. It's too big and too loud. I'm 34. Less attention I get, the better. I do have a load of parts in here for the Pulsar. That is a spare back axle. And I have made a mistake with the back axle, which I'll show you. There's an exhaust in there as well. Standard exhaust, which I think is just going to suit my fat driving style better. I'm not young anymore, so I don't want to have a loud car. It's got the wiper delete there, so we've no back wiper. If we come around this side, I think sometimes that cap is tricky to open with the mechanism, so we're going to have to look at that. The back brakes, I've gave them a little clean just on the way in there. They were all new and I've only done about 100 kilometres or so. You can see the wheel studs there are terrible. The wheels are absolutely terrible as well, so the plan is to change them off. One of the valves is actually cut in half, and I'll show you that if we get into it. Toyo sticker can come off because it's crap. That's not open, it's not unlocked. Come round the front. I mean, it's just in dire need of attention and cleaning and brought back up to life, which we have all the equipment and capabilities of doing, so we're going to show you guys that. Again, front calipers. So the back calipers are the ones I stole that I had built for the Mini, but they're actually Pulsar calipers, so they get put on this, and then the old ones off this, which were seized and need rebuilt, but I don't know what condition they're in anymore, so we're maybe going to have to look at all the calipers. They're going to need painted at the very least. I was thinking about upgrading because the channel is getting slightly better. I think the videos are getting slightly better, and we've got slightly decent cars to work on. I think it's time we actually modify them slightly and put some slightly better parts on them. So we're either going to have to completely strip all these and redo them, or we're going to maybe try and get a K Sport or a Wildwood kit. Someone was selling one on eBay and on the GTIR club. If they can do me a price, give me a message. Might upgrade the front ones and the front discs. We're getting these wheels off. An engine bay here, it's just needing a tidy up. I thought the holes were cut to put a front mount on, but I don't think they are. I think this is actually original, which makes me not want to cut the holes to put a front mount on. So I'm kind of in two minds with that, but it apparently does run a lot better with the front mount instead of having the intercooler on top. Battery needs to stay put in. This AirPod filter is just sitting in. I have a new housing made up, I'm sure, to pod the air filter, because I got one made up for the Super Turbo at the same time. We've got loads of problems in here. Vacuum problems. These are all going to need double check. It's just spaghetti junction in here. They're all just like botched together. I have loads of vacuum, so we're going to have to reroute all the vacuum. I don't actually know. I mean, look at that. That's like a bit with an adapter and then another bit, and then there's another adapter there. It's just kind of botched, jobbed up. I'm sure if I look in here, there isn't even a full set of rocker cover nuts on there, so there's one missing for there at least. And I think some things might be snapped in there which are going to need attention. The water bottle sits loose there. The washer fluid doesn't have a cap or anything on it. Full engine bay is needing freshened up and cleaned. We have wiring in here, which I'm ashamed to say that was actually me. I'm not going to lie to you guys. It was running the wrong math sensor, which is needing a clip as well, because that's rubbish. The math sensor was wrong, and I spliced in just to try and get some readings with the voltmeter. And then we discovered that it was actually running the wrong math for the car, so it was dumping in way too much fuel. That's actually the wrong dump valve that I lifted out of the house. It should have an HKS one on it. That's the one that came with it, but I'm taking it out, putting the HKS one back on. There is some dress-up bits that we want to do as well, just to make the engine bay look a lot better, a lot cleaner. It's got the big alloy radiator, which isn't standard. I fitted that, but now I think it protrudes and fouls with the slam panel here, which messes up the bonnet opening and closing, so that's going to need attention as well. We are running some better suspension, which will show you apparently a really rare Japanese suspension on the car, which I bought from the guy that actually scammed me, but that's another story. I bought them off the guy after he scammed me, but I still wanted the suspension, so I had to buy them. What we're going to do now is we're going to fire it up in the air. Interior wise, before we do that, it's needing a clean. Original mats. I'm not sure about the phase of the seats, if they're right, because I had two different cars that were two different phases. Not the umbrella model, but I do have the umbrella and the umbrella holder, which I'll show you in a different video. We have got some, I'll take this Michelle, we've got some trims missing, so that's there, but it's going to need repaired and fixed. That doesn't open, so we're going to need to give it attention. We have no radio. Gear knob is tatty, so we're going to have to fix it. The ECU is lying on the floor. Can't remember why I done that, but it's off. Now the steering wheel is a bit dated, but the originals are very expensive, so might not be able to get one. I think since I bought the car, I reset the trip and I've done 200 kilometres in 8 years. The issue is though that this is the most unreliable car in the world, so because we want to take it to an island, yeah, we want to take this to an island. I've only done 200 kilometres in 8 years, and it's the most unreliable car in the world, and we want to take it to an island. So I need to try and make sure that it's not going to break down on me. So we'll get it up just now and show you what's next. So, as I said earlier, upgraded suspension. It's RSR TI 2000. Can't remember too much about them. But they're on in the front there, and a splash guard is missing, so we're going to need a new one. Plus, this is what I'm talking about. We need to tidy everything up. That's for the washer jet system. That looks like a white one, so I must have robbed it off another car, my other white Pulsar. You have seen the side, the back, no bubbling on the arches. These are arch protectors, quite rare to find now. A lot of people are missing them. Again, we've got the full set of TI 2000 suspension from Japan. Back condition, you can see it's all been kind of under sealed previously and it's still good nick. No rust around the arches. Under the back here, exhaust needs to go. Too big and loud. And it's chapping on there and on the bumper because it's not mounted properly. I did actually ask for a small exhaust to be put on it when the fella that had it that scammed me had the car, and then he put this on. I do have a standard one over there, so we're going to hopefully mount it in this section, and it should reduce some of the noise. Handbrake cable, I'm sure seizes on this side. Can't remember on that side. It probably does the same now because it's been so long. You can see I've painted all the tie rods and stuff blue with Hammerite to try and tie in with the front engine, which I'll show you down there because it's blue as well. I think that's pretty much it. I really want this cradle back off. I've made a mess of this. I think I've overfilled this back diff because when I had it on the floor, the hole on the side there for filling, which should be filled when it's sitting this angle, I'm sure I had it vertical and just started pouring fluid in. So I'm sure that's overfilled and hopefully I've not damaged it, but I do have a spare one if I did, so we can do that. Prop shaft running right up the middle, nothing exciting about that, but we're wanting this full cradle back off, and I'll show you guys something that happened with the exhaust and during that episode when the car tried to kill me in the front, because this is where the issue is with the car. Turbo there, obviously, you can see that. Coolant pipe there. It's coolant that's the issue with the car. Now, when you take this for a 20 or 30 minute drive, when you park it back up, you can hear splashing where it's hitting against something hot, so it's actually splashing against the exhaust when the exhaust is hot. And there's a coolant leak. So there's a coolant leak, which is the reason why it's been packed up for all these years, since 2020, so for 3 years. And I've had the coolant kit there to redo it all for years now, and I've not bothered. You can see the block is blue along with the gearbox. I'm not sure what I can do about that because, I mean, I doubt I can change it unless I rip it all out. So we're going to have to try and tie everything in a kind of blue and black theme, which isn't ideal. It's not really my style, but we're going to just have to make do with what we have. Under here, gear linkage boot is all broken. I'm going to need to try and find one of them. That looks as if it's sweating. Don't know if it's oil. It looks a bit oily, to be honest. I put a sports cat on it, even though it doesn't need a cat anymore because of the age. We need to tie in a new sway bar for it because that's rubbish. I'm actually sitting on the ramp there on that, so I'm going to need to move the car forward slightly, which I'll do just now before we start work. Tyres scrubbed, but we're getting rid of them anyway. Everything else is pretty much as you would expect. Pretty good condition, but it's got some issues. Right, so the issue with the coolant scenario is that the pipe that we need to repair is right down in the back there, as low as you can imagine. To do that, we need to strip off everything, all the intake manifold, a lot. But while we're in there, we're going to get all the access to all these vacuums and change them at the same time. I did repair this hose that is burst, and it's the most common one of all. But a month later, it done the same again. So we're going to replace it now with a full kit, which is in the car. Right, some goodies that we have here. So it is a full coolant kit for the car, ancillary kit, if that's what you call it. I'm dropping hoses off my feet. Let's hope I've not lost any. So every single coolant pipe should be there for the car. set them up there, and I'll show you. I'm sure it's this one that's the issue. Sits down the back of the block. Does it go that way? And there's something in there that needs to stay in there. There's a spring or something, if I remember correctly. So we're going to have to make sure that we incorporate all these hoses into the correct position. But we literally have every single hose, every single knuckle, bend, everything for the car. So it's going to be a bit of a jigsaw to figure out what ones go where. But that's what we're doing on the car first, because that's the number one issue with the running of this car. We might have some fueling issue and stuff as well. I've spoken in the previous video that it has forged pistons and stuff in it, and the cylinders have been bored slightly. So we might need to address some of that. I would actually prefer it if it was modernised with coil and plug instead of distributor. We might look into that. I would like to do it myself if I could get a kind of bolt-on kit, or find someone close to me that would maybe tie in with me doing it, because we're going to need to run a different ECU if we do that, which is fine as well, but I would like to do that at some point just for reliability, especially with it being bored. I would like to have it running better basically with the fuel that's going in. So that's all the coolant stuff. Something that I'd done on the Super Turbo was replace all the vacuum lines. So we have got loads and loads of vacuum piping, and we're just going to do the same in this car as I did with the Super Turbo. I'm not leaving anything to chance. We're going to replace every single vacuum while we've got that inlet manifold off. Just going to have to strip away and hopefully remember where it all goes. Right, so first things first, I think we're just going to take this off and expose everything that we can expose, and go for there. I'm also going to need to lay the pipes out and say, right, that is that pipe, swap it, that is that pipe, swap it. It's been a while since I worked on this. I'm not getting much deja vu. It just bringing back bad memories actually. What did he know? I forgot. Right, bring the camera in. Something I'm going to show you guys just while I've took that off. Every single injector is loose. They don't have the clip in them, so I'm going to have to try and find them. No clip. No clip. So that's no good. And where is all the vacuum? All this vacuum here. See all these wee bits here? I think that might be too thick of a vacuum pipe there. They shouldn't really be on that, unless that is a thicker vacuum. I'm not sure, but I think I'm going to want to replace all of them. People got a lot of bother with these, I think, so they don't look too bad. I might have already done that, but we might do it again, revisit it. Right, that fuel's all going to have to come off, that's going to have to come off, that vacuum there's going to have to come off. For the regulator, that's the regulator, it's vacuumed in there, into a T-junction, and then goes round into the turbo, does it? Yep, into turbo actuator. That one comes off, that's a wee solenoid thing. Dump valve, you're coming off next. And it's going to be easiest. And then we're going to need to get down in the back and crack all of these off. You can see there's a new Jubilee clip on there, where I've been down in the back before doing the manifold. And we've got missing nuts and bolts and the wrong fittings and stuff for this rocker cover. So we're going to get a new kit for that, because I don't think that's too much of an ask. I used to be able to get this off in 20 minutes. It's going to take me 20 minutes to even figure out what I used to do. But I used to be quick at getting this off. Right, dump valve, gone.
To remove the inlet manifold, first I basically need to remove anything that's attached to it. That includes the dump valve and the injector loom, because we're removing the fuel rail along with the manifold. Then there's the breather pipe and the throttle cable. Some earth straps. Then the fuel supply to and from the regulator. Next the vacuum lines, and then there's some plugs down the back along with some coolant pipes. Once that's done, it's a tedious job of removing the nuts that hold the manifold on, off, being careful not to drop any.
When I was explaining before about difficulties with some of this work in here that I remember, is getting the nuts right down in the back. And when you can crack it off with a spanner, with the ratchet spanner, it becomes slack that you can't actually, it becomes that slack that you can't actually use a spanner anymore, and it's impossible to get your fingers in there. So I nudged it round with a screwdriver, and then so that it doesn't drop. I've never done this before, but I'm turning it with a magnet slightly and hoping that when it's loose enough, that didn't help. The magnet was supposed to catch it when it became loose and it knocked it down. We need to find that one, that handle, man. This is what I'm talking about. That one, and the hardest part's putting it back on and getting that nut on and getting it started. Anyway. Right, so I'm holding it on. It's that there. I knew there was something else, but I've created, there's another wee pipe there. Oh, there we go. All right, okay. These, 1, 2, 3, need to come off. Yes! Champion!
Now with access, I can show the pipes we need to replace. This one at the back holds the spring inside that I've mentioned before. First job is to tackle the easier and more obvious pipes that need removing. So we started with the 2 heater hoses, comparing each hose I remove to the appropriate replacement in the kit. After that, it's time to tackle the least favourite. Quick pause a moment, just want to show you guys, stop the time lapse just to give you a little update. So here is the coolant pipes that I've taken off the back. You can see that one was the one with the number, and this is the one with the spring inside. So we need to make sure that we cross the spring over into this new one. I have 2 new hoses on here. I've got new fittings on them. I need to tighten this one up. I just kind of gave it a twist for alignment purposes. So I've got 2 in here. We're putting new fittings on, new fittings down the back as well there. Just doing a process of elimination, so we'll put my light on so that we can see down here. And so we have a coolant pipe here, coolant pipe there. So these are all just ones we're going to have to remove one at a time and then try and cross them over with anything we can find. Also, when I look down in here, there's a little coolant pipe down in there. So, but the thing that I've realised in the kit, I don't seem to have the elbow hoses for the radiator, and I don't seem to have this radiator hose in the kit either. I thought the full kit replaced everything, but I'm going to see if I can source them separate. These are all the little ones we have left, so we're going to have to work through them all and just try and do them one at a time until I have none left, and hopefully I've covered them all. A little bit of investigation work there, but that's where I'm at. I just wanted to show you guys the spring and where we're at. This is down the back of the engine, so obviously we've got starter motor there, oil cooler there, oil filter there. Down in there is, you can see that wire there, that's a knock sensor. I did have a code for the knock sensor, so I'm actually going to replace that, although the code might not have been for the actual knock sensor. It could have been because it's detecting knock, but a bit suspect wiring in there as well, so we're going to have to give it some attention just while we're here because it's easy access, and tidy up as much as we can under here. These are just some of the plugs that I had to disconnect on the loom to get everything out. There's a better view of the dog mount broken, so we're going to do that one as well. So we've got some good access here. We're going to try and do as much as we can while we're in here and make it all right. I've got a new sensor there for temp sensor, so I'm going to replace that as well. And we'll probably need to get a new inlet manifold gasket and stuff. But I just wanted to give you guys a look down there. This is, we're going to tackle all this area first, then we're going to maybe tackle that inlet manifold, make sure everything's all good with it, and then we can start coming up and out and start freshening everything up in here, maybe paint the rocker cover, get some new bolts and stuff for that, maybe see if we can get some dress up stuff and make it actually look nice and tidy. Might try and clean all this while it's empty as well, see if we can get a new air hose some sort of way, because I'm not really happy about that one. Right, so back to the wheels. What's my stuff, Michelle? We've picked up these. They're not the best looking, they're going to need a clean up and a couple of touch ups in places, but the fella who sold me them done a really good price on them. I don't know if they fit. I've had a thing with this car where I thought this will be the third set of wheels and none of them have fit. I really should measure them first, but first set I drove all the way to Hull and back, and the centre board was the wrong size, it was too small and it didn't want to machine the wheels out, so we sold the wheels. Another set we had was rotor grid drifts that I drove away up the west of Scotland to get, and for some reason they didn't fit either, but I don't think I even tried them on. I think I ended up selling them. They get sold without even getting tyres on them after paying the money to have them refurbished. So in this attempt we're going to fit these. They are apparently 4x100, which is the fit for this, 16 inch, 7 inch wide, so they should be okay without scrubbing. These are 15s, and because this ultra rare suspension that we don't know what it is lowered, I just need to be careful that I'm oh no, I'm going to fill. There's no much gap there at all on this shocker. Are these wider? As long as they're not wider. But the different thing is as well is the ET size. ET is how far the offset of this kind of spoke from the hub. If it's positive or negative, like the wheel sits out here, so this is ET4. Don't know what they are. It's going to, there's like, you could barely get a 10p down there. I didn't realise how close that was. Bring the camera down, Michelle. There's ET. Go home. Is that a number 4? I don't know if that's a number 4. And these are supposed to be ET4. What's wider? Oh, these don't look as wide as them. No, they're not as wide. They can't be as wide. These look wider than them. I'm not good with wheels. Let's just see if they fit. I think we need spigot rings. Is that right? Spigot rings? Oh, let's just see. Oh, we're off to a good start anyway. Oh, aye, no. Right, so there's a bit of movement there, but I think spigot rings would take that up. But it's the stud size now that... Is that enough thread to catch? Let me see. So I think I was going to order new wheel nuts anyway. So I'm not really too bothered about these. I'm not putting the ramp down, I'm just going to see them on, because obviously there's a huge gap here. At the end of the video I'm going to lower the car onto all 4 and we'll get a look at... There's plenty of clearance here if I want to put bigger brakes on as well. Let's just have a look. Do they look good or bad? I think they look alright. So at the end of the video we're going to lower the car down on all four wheels, just to make sure they're not fouling anywhere and we're not scrubbing on the arches. So we'll do it at the end, but I think we might just get away with this. It's the only size wheels that I've ever actually... I actually need to measure the centre board as well, and make sure the spigot rings I've ordered are correct. So there's just a wee bit of wiggle and play in here in the centre, so to stop any nasty vibration or anything, I think you're supposed to put a spigot ring in. So that's, I have ordered some because I knew I was going to pick these up, and the spigot rings were only £5, so they should hopefully be here today as well, so we can team them up. But we're going to jump back into engine bay right now. And keeping with the theme of new parts, we've got some goodies here, just a couple of new sensors that we're going to be fitting to this at this time. This is a knock sensor, sits down the back of the engine and basically just detects any knock which might be occurring internally in the engine, which could be caused by pre-detonation of fuel or something like that. There's a bit of knock happening and it will pick it up. have actually had a knock sensor code on this car at one point in its life. I do have a way to read codes on this old Legend, which I will show maybe later in the video or another video. But it might not have been a fault with the sensor, it might actually have been picking up some knock with some fueling issue or something like that during my overfueling and kind of stuff, all that kind of problems that we've been having. There's also some untidy wires on the knock sensor itself, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to unplug it, we're going to tidy up the wiring, and we're just going to fit a new sensor. This cost me £40. The reason I'm just doing it is just because of the age of the car, so any new sensor that we can fit to just eliminate any gremlins or possible failures in the future. There might be nothing wrong with that sensor, but while I'm here and I'm in there, and because of the age of it, it just makes sense. You can reach it from below, but while I've got these coolant pipes off with the spring and that in them, it's a lot easier for me to change the sensor. It's literally sitting in there. So I'm going to disconnect it, show you guys the wiring, we're going to tidy that up, and we're going to fit this new sensor. Also have a coolant temp sensor, which will be running for the ECU, this one. And it is in this knuckle here. So there is two sensors there. That thin one is, I'm sure, is just going to be a small signal one, which is going to feed the gauge in there to tell me my coolant temp for the gauge, and this one is going to tell the ECU. Now this is a pretty important sensor because it's telling the ECU the coolant temp for fueling and stuff. So like I've said in previous videos with the Super Turbo, if you fire up your car, it's on a cold start kind of map to begin with, so there's extra fuel and everything going in because it wants to get up to optimum temperature as quick as it can. So it uses things like coolant temp sensors to tell it when it's up to temperature, so it can start backing off some of the extra fuel and stuff. So if there's ever a fault with your coolant temp sensor and it's telling the engine that it's cold even though it is warm, it will keep adding extra fuel in. And we've had overfueling issues and stuff through the MAF sensor before. So again, while I'm here, I have tested this sensor before with a jug of hot water back when I was trying to find out the overfueling issues on the car, and it did work. So I don't think it's faulty in any way, but again, while I'm here, I'm just going to take the chance. That was maybe £15. So let's just put as many new sensors and stuff in this car, which is going to make it more reliable and less likely to have any gremlins or breakdown or anything. So we're going to tackle that as well. So I've just disconnected the clip there, took the pressure off, and it's popped off. So that little silver clip in there, don't know if Michelle can show you, should be on all of these fittings. So one on there and all of the injector ones, and then it's like a 4-prong one that should be on the MAF sensor, which I've hopefully ordered the right one for that as well. Wow. So that's actually PTF tape that's on that. So that's tape on that. I don't know if I put that tape on or whether it was already on and then I put more on. This is the old sensor and new sensor. They are pretty much the same. As long as it's got the fitting, it should send the same signal. The thickness shouldn't really matter, I don't think. This one's got a copper washer on it. This one doesn't, which is why either I've put PTF or someone had PTF or whatever. So copper washer should stop any leaks, so I'm just going to straight swap these over. I'm going to clean that out first though. So we've just cleaned up the surface, so I can just twist this one in. And the washer should seal it, and we shouldn't have any leaks coming from there. I think if we look at this loom here, and we look at the kind of cap, rubber cap here that's over this plug, I think that's what they've tried to imitate using tape on this one, because I'm assuming they've put this wire in by themselves. It's kind of cut and shut job.
While we wait on the new kit coming to tidy up the wiring, we can do the hardest part of all, wrestling the coolant pipe with the spring in it back on. This pipe is an absolute nightmare to get back on because it runs at an angle and has the spring fitted inside, which I'm guessing changes the flow of the coolant, but I'm not even sure, to be honest. If you know what it does, let me know in the comments.
And that one there is equally a nightmare, pretty much because it overlaps from there to there, and so they're quite rigid, the pipes, even the ones that come off, the old ones, the original ones, so they're a bit of a nightmare. So if you're doing this, it's just a bit of persistence I'm going to speed it up, but I don't want you guys, if any of you do it on, to think that I've done it super quick, because I really haven't. So I just wanted to give you an insight to that. So we're going to start the time lapse again, and I'm just going to struggle away. After about a 40-minute struggle on the one pipe alone, both pipes are now fitted and secure. The problem was the spring, and the hose kept folding over inside the pipe, but I managed to get a screwdriver in and slip it over. While I'm waiting on Amazon delivering the rest of the parts we need, we can see what the new wheels are going to look like fitted to the car. The ET, I think the ET needs to be out this way, so that it sits closer to the lip. So your arch isn't miles over your wheel. I think that's too much. I don't think it's fouling, no, because it's spinning, but it means I'm way in the arch. Which is, when I drop this, it's going to look shit. So let's drop it and let's make it look shit. So my parts never arrived, and we've tried the wheels on. We're stuck at the coolant issue just now, and the wheels are wrong again. This is the Pulsar. This is why I do not work on this car. It needs to sit low somehow. Because the profile of the tyre is different. What's the profile of the tyre? 55, 205, 55. 205, 55, and these are 195, 45, so it is a low profile tyre. Oh, I don't know. That's the first time I've ever put different wheels on it, and I don't know if I like it. I'm just thinking there, I mean, it doesn't look too bad in the camera, but it does look shit there. Look there. It's quite sticking quite far out there. Oh, I don't know. You guys can let me know in the comments. What do you think of the wheels? There, so that angle there kind of tells it. I don't know if the wheel needs to come out and sit more closer to the edge of the arch. But this is it. This is the current wheels, which I can't really do much about because they're paid for, brand new second hand. I mean, I do like the style of the wheel. That looks like a huge gap there. I don't know if it's just because more of the tyre in the old wheel was taking up the space because that's a higher profile. I don't know. You guys, let me know in the comments what you think of the wheels. I think they need to sit out further. Could I space them? Could I get a spacer and move them out? But I think it needs to come out 20mm or something. I wouldn't want to put that big spacer on. I don't know if I need to space these out or whether I need a wider wheel with a higher offset. I'm not good with wheels, as you guys can tell. So we've had a delivery of the parts that we were waiting on in the last episode, so we're going to run through them with you guys right now. It's the 1st of January, I'm a little bit tender, shall we say. Spent last night up to the bells dancing with the dog. Right, so guys, some things we've got. Spigot rings in this box. I'll show you them a little bit later because I need to take the wheels back off to show you. I have brought down the adapter for the pod filter, which is going to go on there. Might make up a gasket, paper gasket, just so that's going to house our pod filter. So we'll get that later as well. I already had this. Something else I've had for years is the badges. There is one missing from the front. I need to locate it. So we have them for the car as well. I'm going to keep them in the car so I don't lose them. But I'm going to wait until we've cleaned it before we attach these on. Next, I've got these clips. I've ordered all these injector plugs. I don't actually want them, I just wanted the clips. But that doesn't actually look right. They look slightly different. So I don't know if that's going to work. I read somewhere that it does, but it doesn't look like it. So I might have thrown a blank with that. And we've got some heat shrink for the wiring, so we're going to tidy up some of the wiring. I did have heat shrink, but I didn't have very thin stuff to do the single wires, and we want to kind of protect all this and tidy it all up, so we're going to do that today. We need to do that while the inlet manifold is off,
So we've got this to tackle, and we still have all these ancillary hoses that we need to find a place for. They're going to be split between this side of the engine, I think, and inlet manifold. So we're going to have to team up and see what's happening there. So we'll hopefully have that finished today, and maybe have the inlet manifold back in, which means that we should be able to start it and start the bleeding process. And once it's bled, the oil would be nice and warm, so we can then service the car. So I'm hoping that there's no hiccups and everything went okay with these coolant pipes and there's no leaks, so that we can get the car serviced as well. So just slight dilemma, I've pulled this coolant pipe out from here, which runs down in to cool the turbo. Now it's got a slight bend on it and I've only really got a straight pipe, but so I'm kind of concerned that I might be using a pipe that's for somewhere else in there. This is great. I'm too rough for this, to be honest. Small update here. I'm slowly replacing these ones on the inlet manifolds. We've got loads here, but I'm kind of looking at these 90-degree bends here and kind of figuring out where these all go. I've got a few 90s, but I think I'm short on 90-degree bends, so I don't know where that might be that one there. I found there's another little one in there. Oh my god, I don't know if I have enough hoses now. So I've went for having too many hoses to not having enough. I've seen a picture on the kit, I should have 18 hoses and I have 17. I think I'm a bend short. Remember the bag was burst, so there's a hole in the bag. And I'm wondering if one's dropped out, so I'm going to have to see there's a big hole there. So I'm wondering either one's fell out or I've used one in the wrong place. Right guys, new dilemma here. That tiny pipe in the back there, down in there, which I think is actually this one, and this doesn't go on there, although it's a good fit, right? For me to get in to replace that one, like to get this one here, I've had to slacken off this breather box to allow it to move out, and I think I need to do the same with this valve here. Now the problem with this valve is the bolt is 1, 2 and 3's down in there, so I think I actually need to split it and remove here and here and take the top section of the valve off to get me access to the third bolt, which would allow me to change the hose. Now there's a gasket in there, and I don't trust that if I take this off, that gasket's not going to turn to dust, basically, because it's either cork or paper. But something's telling me years ago when I was working on this, I meant to buy this gasket, and I bought that gasket, and so I never used it, because it was the wrong one obviously. So I might actually have that gasket. So until I go and find it, I'm not touching this hose. And I really want to replace everything, that's why we bought the kit. So I'm either going to have to order this or leave it. If later on in the video that's not changed, this is the reason, but I am going to try and find the gasket. Digging through some of the old Japanese parts from the storage there. So I just want to show you guys, this is live and raw. So we've got the mud flaps, all different colours, so they're going to have to need rectified. I've pretty much made a mess trying to find some parts, but we have found some Pulsar parts. That's a spare fuel rail with all the injectors. No clips on that either, unfortunately. No regulator or anything, just a fuel rail. There's some gas struts there. There's loads of nuts and bolts in there. And I'm not joking when I say this, but I think that is the gasket. I think that's it.
I found the gasket. That will save us any more delays. Now we can remove the top half of the idle control valve to access the bracket, which is held on by these 3 bolts. As you can see, I've fixed on pretty well. I can then remove the retaining clips for the hose, and the valve is able to slip off. It's a good job I found the gasket, otherwise it would have meant more delays to this project.
Before refitting the valve, any traces of the old gasket need removed with a sharp blade. And you can see the difference between the old and new gaskets. Now I can refit the base of the valve and tighten everything back up. With this done, it allows us to connect the last few remaining hoses from the kit. And that's it complete for now. The plan in the future is to have all these parts vapour blasted, but for now we just need to see if this car will work first. Before I can refit the inlet manifold, I have a couple of tidy up jobs to do. First I heat shrink the knock sensor wire to tidy it up a bit. And next we've got that destroyed dog bone mount to address.
Right, just want to show you guys some progress here. So I've tidied up this wire, have done some diagnostics with this wire. A fella Sean from my work was helping me out, so I just wanted to make sure this wire is good. So I have actually ran a wire to the pin in the ECU and then into this pin here, and there's good continuity, low resistance, which is good. I've pinned it back into this plug. I will try and get a better plug for that, and we do have pins coming, hopefully they're the right ones, so that just needs plugged in. But I want to show you issues I'm having with this poly mount kit. So as you seen a moment ago, I've pressed this bush into this. So there's two kind of dog bone mounts, one for the back, one for the front. Turns out I've never had one on the front, so I'll show you the solution to that in a minute. But when I try and fit this one back on, and I'm pushing now, I need this inlet manifold on and the job's done, but as you'll see there, that does not fit in there. So that's going to need trimmed off, I would imagine. I don't know why this is protruding so much when every other bush is like almost flush in the kit. But I'm going to have to trim it. I don't think I've got the wrong bush in. I didn't actually know there was two dog bones on this, and it's just dawned on me where the other one is, and it's on a bar that I think I've shown in a previous video in here, as spare parts I have for Pulsars, which coincidentally isn't fitted to this car, and I had one sitting over there, and someone actually tried to buy it off me, and I almost sold it. It's a good job I didn't. So this is the front crash bar here, and the other mount is to go in there. So hopefully I don't need to trim. But both, I did actually check, both these mounts are the exact same that have been provided. So we're going to have to mess about with that at a later date. I'm leaving this one in just now. I should have a bush for that as well, but the kit's as much as of a puzzle as the coolant kit was, so I really just want this running right now. Because there was no dog bone mount in the back where it was destroyed, I'm just replacing this one for now, but I'm going to have to trim this first before it goes in. Just to give you some context, that's the old one that was broken, that's the new one. It is definitely longer, for what reason I do not know. So we're going to have to trim this. Back in the engine bay, guys, one of the jobs that I have to do before I put this inlet manifold on, this needs rethread or cleaned up or some sort. This bolt's supposed to go in there, but it was kind of no going in properly, so I'm going to tap and die kit out, and we're going to clean this thread up. I'm not actually sure if it's all supposed to be studs, and these studs are removable, and it should maybe be a stud, I'm not sure, but this bolt is what was in it, so I'm going to clean it up and see if we can get it back in it. Then I'm going to clean round the inlet manifold, seating area, get the gasket and everything back on, and we're going to slip it into place, connect those two cooling pipes and start running everything, get the new vacuum in. We've tightened up the dog bone mount, it's in now. Had a little bit of faffing about to do with it, but overall I'm kind of happy with it. Not overall impressed with the quality, to be honest, but it is what it is. I can now plug this back in.
as well. So this is Darren's tap and die set. I'm stealing a quick shot of it. I have a similar one, but it's up at the garage at home. What I'm doing is I'm taking the nut. I don't have, just assume I don't have a thread pitch gauge. I do have one, but you can actually take the nut and put it in to the die and find out what size. So I'm going along them. Japanese, I think is normally 125. So there's a 9125, but it's a bit slack in there. So I've went across to the M8 125. There we go. This away. So the 8125 is the size. So now we know we need the tap 8mm by 125, and I've got little adapters we're going to put on. We're going to clean up the hole, and then hopefully that should be it. Just want to show you guys a wee bit of tidying up. There's a wee bit involved into these old cars, so I just want to show you some of the wee tips and stuff that we do along the way. So instead of using the tap and die kit with the kind of bar there to tap it, it kind of gets in the way quite a lot and hits off of things, especially for doing a neat engine bay job. So what I do have is a little socket set for tap and dies, for taps, sorry, and it's this one here. So we can now use a socket and a ratchet to tap that instead of using the handheld. Just going to need to make sure that we're 100% straight when we do this. So I've just actually turned this in by hand first, guys, and it's sitting pretty good. It's nice and straight, and I'm getting a good feel when I start the turning process. So we're just going to turn away here, and every now and again we'll just back out a little bit, and it should just lift any rubbish that's in there out, and then in again. Don't just send it home, have a few turns in and out. So that's going in nice and good. So I'm hoping that it fixes our issue with this stud, because if you make a mess of this is actually on the cylinder head. So it's a cylinder head off job, and we'd need to go away and get machined. Maybe need to oversize the hole or put a helicoil in it or something like that. But that felt pretty good. A little bit of crap on there. Looks pretty good. And we're off. So hopefully we've got that issue resolved when I come to install it. I'm now just going to clean this area up.
This is the tricky part now, getting all the nuts started without dropping any down the engine bay, especially when you drop one and don't hear the sweet sound of it hitting the floor.
Awkward point in the video, I fell behind. The extra time it's taken to do knock sensing and stuff is kind of, I've lost a day or so just fixing some of the trouble that I wasn't expecting to do. I need the ramp for customer work right now. I've quickly just fired everything on, so there's a lot that's not new, but there's obviously a lot that is. You've seen us put the coolant and stuff in. I'm just recording this just in case, it's the first start, just in case something goes wrong. But I'm just going to take it out, and then it's to come back in, so it's literally going 50 feet. It's not going any further, so we shouldn't need to worry. There's plenty of coolant and everything in it, so we shouldn't really need to worry too much about overheating or anything, or bleeding or anything like that right now, because I've still to do all that properly, which I'll show you. So this is a just in case moment. So I'm just going to prime it a few times and see if it will go. Hear the pump prime. There's obviously fuel to get up, but I don't hear the pump. This needs to go, man. We can't push this off, it's too heavy. Let's see if we can get some juice in it. Normally I like to clean it a couple of times and let the fuel come up, because we did lose some fuel into the system, but I'm not hearing, normally hear a wee.
can't be happening to me right now. Oh yes, we're in. So we've got adapter name, petrol, ECU number. So it's getting some status, it's connected, self-diagnostics. Ignition signal circuit. Oh my god. I think I forgot to plug in the coil. Oh my god. I forgot to plug in the coil. See when oh no, it's leaving in there. Oh, I didn't see it. Did I? I have, there. Look. There it's there. That's the coil. See, to replace that long coolant pipe that I was messing about with, and then I had to put the original back on, I had to remove the main coil. So we've been firing loads of fuel in there, which isn't good. This has got to be it. There's no spark getting in there without this coil. But the plug's not like to go back on. Oh, yeah, there we go. Come on, please, if that's it then, I would never have thought to go back there. Please fire up, man. Oh. I don't know if that's because all that fuel's been going in.
Paul, we're outside in the freezing cold, pitch black.
There's a lighter
in my pocket. What are you doing?
So in the last episode, you guys seen that we had to push it off the ramp. It's still that same evening. I need it back in now. So I'm going to try and see if it's a plug issue. I think the plugs have maybe soaked and flooded, so I'm burning away and cleaning them up and putting it back in to see if we can actually get it started. I don't want to leave it outside. It needs to go back in.
It was too hard to push out.
I don't want to push it back in. It's terrible to push. It's going back in. I just don't want to push it back in, so it's worth a try doing this first because I'm not getting any codes. Might have left something unplugged, but let's try this. Right, we're giving it one chance, so if it doesn't fire up, cut to the scene of me pushing it back into the unit. Don't believe it.
If any of you have ever had to push one of these cars, then you'll know our pain here. One of the heaviest cars ever to push. And you will recall the crack in the paintwork on the back quarter was from me punching the car last time I had to push it.
It's the following morning on the Pulsar. I've came back down last night just laying in my bed and I've been thinking, have I connected everything? On the scan tool it was saying about throttle position and I think it said closed. So I was lying last night and I'm thinking, have I done something with throttle position or have I left something unplugged? And it dawned on me that I've plugged all the plugs in down the back of the inlet manifold, but as well as forgetting to put in the one for the ignition coil, I thought there's also another one belongs in this side, and it turns out I was right. Show you guys in here, I've just popped a intercooler off down here, which I think throttle position sensor is going to be here. If I look down there, I'm sure it's the first plug I disconnected when I started stripping everything down. Stupidly my phone's been full and I've had to, and I deleted the video, so I couldn't even watch it back and find out. But I'm thinking that's the throttle position sensor. And what's that there? A plug. So I'm going to hook that back up. I don't know if that's going to be the fix, but it's certainly no helping any. Strangely enough, I'm not getting any codes because everything says it's fine on the scan tool, but I'm going to plug this in, put it back together, and hopefully I've got it running for Michelle coming, because this thing is so heavy. If any of you guys have pushed one of these, you'll understand. So hopefully, to surprise her, we've got it running by the time she comes back. Can't it be, man? Seriously, it can't be. Can it be? Oh my god, the smoke. Get the door open.
To get it running, I changed the spark plugs over to a brand new set of spark plugs, but I want to show you an issue with the spark plugs just in a moment. We're going to dive straight in. You've obviously seen in the last episode the issues we're having right now, which I didn't have before I started working on it. This is just what happens when I work on this car all the time, which is why I left it for so long. It's nothing but bad memories. I'm just going to catch you up in engine bay to see where we're at and show you what we're going to be doing today.
Right, engine bay. Everyone's all familiar with this now. Just going to give you guys a quick update. I've stripped this back out, so I've just removed all the lines. Removed the air hose this time to give me more space. I've got a big space in here. Today's episode, I'm going to be fixing and changing every single vacuum line, and this is the reason why. I have a vacuum line here, which is then botched into another vacuum line there, and then onto there. This one here is a vacuum line botched onto another vacuum line, botched onto another vacuum line. So that's an issue with that one. I don't even know if they're all wired into the correct space, because I've just seen a diagram saying that this one here should be to the airbox, and I had that one there on the airbox, so I'm not sure about that. This fuel line here, as you can see, is taut. There is actual tension on that. You can see the strain. We're over fueling like crazy right now, which is why it won't start. Could be a kink and it's not relieving the fuel back, because that's a little regulator there, or it could be the regulator indeed. Could have some wiring issues somewhere, some vacuum issues. It's just an absolute scramble in here. There was another one I've seen earlier there. So that's for the dump valve. So I have a thin pipe squished into a thick pipe. So that's obviously no correct. This is just, it's just botched crazy. So we're going to replace it all. Something I want to show you guys is this. Wait to see where the lens is over here. Here. Where's the lens? Here. Right, so that carbon build up there on that spark plug. That is after about 1 minute of running. So there's a clear issue there with overfueling. And these are now starting to struggle to get the car to fire up. Those were brand new, literally brand new plugs. In for about a minute. It got me enough to drive the car in, and that was them, black. So we've got a crazy overfueling issue, which I never had before. I have had it before. When I had MAF issues, so suspected MAF issue here, suspected vacuum leak somewhere or an air leak from when I quickly plugged everything back in, but it was a bit of a nightmare there. So what we're going to do in this episode is we're going to replace all of these vacuums, this fuel hose here, and then I'm going to give some attention into this area, and I'll explain why later in the video, and then hopefully then it can start and run, because I haven't been able to bleed up the coolant system yet because the car won't run.
Changing these vacuum pipes isn't the most difficult, especially compared to the Super Turbo. But it is something that shouldn't have been left without attention for so long, as they can cause so many running issues.
Basically just plumbing in all these new lines. If I show you guys, plumbing in all the new lines. So I have a new fuel return ready here, just needs trim to size, but I'm going to do that because I don't want to make everything too short. Once I get everything kind of back in, I'm going to trim it all and then clip it all up. But the problem I'm having is I'm running everything, so the three-way connector air chamber in the back, you may have seen when the inlet manifold was off. this is one of the vacuum lines, so it goes to a three-way connector. One end goes to the fuel pressure regulator, the other comes down to the boost sensor there. So still got the third one to clip in. But basically the second one of the three is this one here. You'll recall that I had one pipe stuffed in another pipe and then going to the blow-off valve, so I have a new pipe straight for the blow-off valve. Third one goes to the carbon canister, which is this here, and this is where my new issue is. So I'm just making sure that I've got everything in the carbon canister correct. The diagrams I've got show 2 outlets here, and there's 1, 2, 3. And then another issue I have is what the f is this? It's been blanked off, and I'm working off the 2 diagrams. So I'm working off that one and this one. Basically one's an SR20, one's more of a GTIR, but this should be plumbed in somewhere, and I've got my one coming from the fuel tank going into the top, which I think might be wrong. I think we've got another vacuum dilemma to add to the ones we already had, which may explain why this thing has never run properly. It never had a big canister in it when I bought it, but I had all these vacuum lines laying doing nothing, so I took the carbon canister off my second car and put it in. So the carbon canister may be wired in wrong, which would have been me at the time. I don't know if we should just do, a lot of people just get rid of it at this point and do that. Should I do that? And then I don't know anymore. This is Pulsar life, this is it. I keep saying it, but this is it. It's never easy, and it never works, never ever works. Most unreliable car in the world. We've magically built it back up. We're at a sensitive part now. I'm just going to spin and show you guys what we've been up to, but there was some stumbles across the way, and thanks to the WhatsApp group for this car, I've managed to rectify a few things which I think was wrong, so fingers crossed this plays out here, because it's starting to get on my nerves. This is just what it's like, and then I just leave it and I go and work on something else. So, built everything back up. One of the major issues was all the vacuum in there, so I've literally replaced every line. No too exciting, so I've just skipped it by you guys. I've also put a new fuel return line on there, so it's not taut anymore. Basically, I've got a breather coming from the fuel tank, which I had into this vacuum port, which was wrong. This vacuum port one, which operates the diaphragm in there, is supposed to go down into the plenum. So I've switched. This is one thing I'm not sure about, whether I've got these two round the right way or not. One comes from the vacuum box at the back, the black 3 lines, and the other is the vent for the fuel tank. And the hose that comes out the bottom, which I thought was blanked off, isn't actually blanked off, and it is supposed to vent into the chassis leg. So I think I've got the plumbing sorted with that. If it doesn't work, I'm just going to rip it out and blank everything off. On another note, the solenoid here, I think I had this and this round the wrong way, according to a diagram I found with a closer up view. Someone might correct me on this, but I now have this side here teed into the turbo wastegate actuator, which is down there. So I've got it coming into a 3-way, and I've got it on this side now instead of that side, and I've got that side going as a breather to the air pipe, so I had them round the other way. So we're going to try that. I have cleaned back up the spark plugs. They were brand new, so I've gave them a clean up to see how it's going to run. Pod filter is now bolted in properly, just in case there's any. It wouldn't be unmetered air because it's coming in at this side, but just so that there's filtered air going in case it's making a difference. I'm making sure that's plugged in. Battery is fully charged, so it's now time to start it and see what is going to happen. Please, 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 please. What was that? It's a new day, it's freezing cold in Scotland, but we've got the Pulsar in, and today I'm going to strip down
all of this engine bay and find out what's been happening mechanically to cause this huge upset. Is it something I've done or is it something new? So today we're going to find out. But first, before we go into stripping down the engine, a few people have been asking about how I've managed to communicate with the car and speak to it for trouble codes. So I'm going to show you guys exactly how I do that right now. So the first process what I use to communicate is this little data link box. I think it's a homemade job off of someone off of the owner's page or the forum or something, and basically I'm able to connect this to the car using this plug. Then I have to download an app onto the tablet and then we can communicate through that. There is also a way to bridge the pins, and I think it flashes the engine management light and you count the amount of flashes. It matches to the appropriate code in the owner's handbook or whatever, but this is like a 90 or an 89 car, so it's a bit harder to communicate. There's just no OBD. A lot of people might be wondering why I'm even talking about this. There's no like OBD2 ports on these. You can't just plug them in and get all the kind of stuff, but I'll show you some of the useful points on this app as well. So it's got a little bit of live data and stuff involved, so I'm going to show you that as well. Right, so first things first, that little port there under this cover is going to plug this in. So we are in ignition on, as always. You hear the there on the fuel pump. Apologies about the dirty screen on the tablet, guys, but this is the app here, NDSI, so I'm clicking this. It will upload just now. Also need to make sure that there's a little switch on the black box there, is switch to the right, switch to the correct position. Now click connect. It likes to match the phones and stuff as well, but I was having difficulty reminding myself how to operate this, so it's this one here, because that's the name of the little box device. So it's now connecting, and it's connected. So it's getting everything. So you can see here we've got info, data display, self-diagnostic, dash and video recorder across the top. The reason I'm doing this right now before I strip down the engine is because just in case I've had it running in and out a couple of times, in case it's picked up a code and I'm able to talk to this and get at least a hint of an idea where I'm looking to resolve the issue in the car. So if a code read right now, it may give me something, it may not, but if I strip everything down then and I've disconnected everything, it's then going to have loads of open circuits. So we're going to do it right now and show you guys before I strip down the engine. So we're connected. I go to data display and it can give me all sorts of live data here. So we've got RPM, airflow, water temp, O2, stuff like that. There's some timing and stuff. It's not huge in comparison to new cars, but it does help. Now, you can also go into dash. So it gives you positions and battery voltage and airflow and stuff. But we're looking for self-diagnostic, so we're looking for this. And it's just loading up through, but it's not really going to change for that, I don't think. It's not changing. Code 55, no faults. Now in the last video I did have a fault with the ignition circuit, if you guys remember. So that was showing me here, and then I realised I hadn't plugged it in. In the start of this video you'll have noticed the brown plug, which is for the throttle position sensor. Now it was disconnected as well, I had left it off as well, and I didn't have any codes for that. So it shows some of the goodness of this app, and then some of the maybe where it lacks a little. Previously, when I was having huge running issues for a couple of years with this car, and it's the reason why I wasn't really using it, it was overfueling all the time, and this actually gave me up the MAF code, and then I realised I was running the complete wrong MAF for the car, which I'll show you guys later because I have it with me today. I fitted the correct MAF sensor to the car, and then we were good, and the car ran pretty well. I don't think it was 100%, but it ran pretty well. I've never had this car running 100%. I don't know why it didn't flag up the throttle position sensor. So there might still be something in the engine bay that this hasn't picked up. So now it's time to strip everything down. Right, so I think in the very first episode I explained to you guys that I was really quick at stripping this down, and today I'm going to show you how quick I am. So just to save any bother, we're going to strip it down like that. What I have just noticed is that pipe there is off. There. Now that's obviously a big vacuum issue. So now I need to go and see if that's been off before. I need to try and find a video if I've just knocked that off just now, because I'm actually most way through stripping this. I'm taking off the nuts. So if I've knocked it off just now, then It's obviously not been that. So looking at this pipe again, which was the one that was slipped off, found a video when I had it running with the intercooler off, right, and this was sitting, say, roughly there, and if you look here, that pipe is coming across the underside of this pipe when it's disconnected, sitting loose, and if I plug it in to there, where it's supposed to be, it doesn't come all the way across and stick out the opposite side there. It kind of loops down in to the nipple. It's no sticking out there. I'm now at the point where do I build it back up and try it again? And that's been the issue. Or do we strip it all down and keep going? What do you think? Is that the mistake? This, I just want to point out, this isn't scripted. There is nothing I hate more than stripping all this back down and not knowing what's wrong with it to then rebuild it all back up for no reason. This is where I'll be truthful. I never replaced the inlet manifold gasket when I had it off. Largely because it never came in time, and then the price of parts now starting to climb. That was £130. So I had to do a little bit of shopping, and we found a kind of kit here, which actually looks plastic, but apparently it's thermal. And it gives us the one for the plenum here, and the one for the gasket. So that was £50 for the two of them, and it was £130 I think for just the inlet manifold gasket. So obviously I'm looking to spend money on the car but not throw it away. So I do have the new gasket, which I actually do want to fit. So I kind of do want to take everything off, but at the same time, because if it could be a gasket issue that's causing the problem, and I could have an air leak from the inlet manifold, but with that pipe being off, it makes me want to just find out, was it that? Let's find out. Before starting the car, I switched out the filled plugs for fresh ones to give it a fighting chance, and I've plumbed in the HKS blow-off valve, as that's the one that should be in it anyway. Right, it's now time to fire it up and see if that was the issue. Let's just remind ourselves how this was running before we found that pipe, if it was the problem. And we're going to fire it up now. So we've put the new plugs in just to give it a bit of a better chance in running cleaner. And I think we'll know straight away. Based on the last video, it wants to automatically cut out without a little bit of throttle. So if we start it up after 10 seconds or so, it's going to do the same. Then we know that's not really the issue. But if it starts to idle well and then settles down, then we can actually start the bleed process in the service. This is just a small blip in the project. We've still got brakes, maybe suspension work, we've got exhaust work, there's loads. We need it through the MOT, we need to do the road trip, so this is going to be an extensive project. This seems like a lot of drama for the first actual stage, which was the coolant pipes. So this is actually coolant pipe related issue, because that was what we started, but we've got loads more components to freshen up this engine, which I'll show you guys. Put in the comments, yes or no. Is this going to be the fix? Yes. Or no, we still have to strip it all down. And be truthful. Pause the video, put it in the comment, and then play the video again. I don't think I knocked the pipe off this time, based on the video, just to position. So I'm going to say that this is a fix. Remember that kind of spitting noise down the back of the engine? I've never heard it before, but I've never had one of these pipes disconnected before, so that's making me think that this is the issue. So I'm saying yes, it's going to run, and this has been the issue. So let me know what you guys think. The woods yet, but it does sound better. It does sound better. Will I do the dance again? Might be premature, there's a couple of spits happening here, but I'm not getting the spitting noise out of the engine. burps out the exhaust. There's a bit of excess fuel still to be burnt off in that though. I don't know if you guys can see this, but every now and then it's blowing a smoke ring just about here. There's one there. See those little smoke rings coming out there? I don't know if that's little burps in the exhaust, little slight misfirey thing. Hard to tell. But at this point she seems no too bad. Certainly that was the issue. We have found the issue. It's been running for a good 5 minutes now. Listen to that, man. Listen. Oh, she farts. So I'm excited about this one now. I can finally show you guys all the parts that we have sitting ready to fit to the car, which would have been done already if it wasn't for that pesky issue, which was all my fault. We now know that. The car is running better now, but hopefully we can start getting through all this stuff and get it ready for this road trip to battle my other 4-wheel drive car. Right, first job we're going to tackle is these two radiator hoses, which I ordered separately from the kit. They don't come with the kit. It was an additional £95 for these two. So the small one is going to be in here and replace this. That must be a home job thing. I don't know why, but that's going to be there. And this one is going to be the radiator hose from the thermostat housing down into the bottom of the radiator. So we're going to tackle these two first. No point bleeding the car then changing these over. So we're going to tackle these, then we can get the coolant in.
First job to change the coolant pipes is to loosen the Jubilee clips with a plain screwdriver. I've placed a jug under the car to catch any coolant that we spill out. These hoses can be a pain to remove if they seize onto the outlet pipe, but a wiggle and a twist and it comes out without too much hassle this time. Then the new pipe slips over relatively easy, and you'll notice we've kept the brand of hose the same as all the others we changed earlier. I just tighten up the Jubilee clips again and then it's on to the second hose of the two. This second pipe is a bit tougher to remove, so I've used a seal pick to run around the edge and slacken it off. I'm catching all the coolant that's coming out as it's new and I plan to reuse it. You can see from the colour of the jugs the coolant colour is different. I'm assuming it's not had time to mix properly in the system yet. These two hoses seem to be a slightly different shape, but I'm hoping this isn't going to be an issue. Now I can fit the second hose back in place and I'm routing it up from the bottom to see if it makes it easier to install, and then I can secure the Jubilee clips again and refill the system with coolant. Lastly, on the coolant system, I give the expansion tank a clean out and you can see the colour of the water that's coming out of it. With it cleaned out, I can slip on the new coolant line, secure it in place and put some pre-mixed coolant back in. While I'm in this area and the top mount intercooler is off, it's a good idea to address the rocker cover bolts. As I've shown in previous videos, half the rocker cover nuts are missing and it's an assortment of nuts and bolts holding it in place. It's about time they were swapped out for a proper set. To To change the bolts, I've removed the bracket from the top mount intercooler and then this breather hose.
So we've got a new kit here for the rocker cover, tied everything up. I've got missing ones, we've got assortments in, we've got homemade stuff in there. Just want to make sure that we're not losing any pressure or any oil leaking from there. So we've got the new kit, small price to pay really, 40 odd pounds. In the kit we have two different sizes of studs, so I'm going to assume I've actually made no too bad a guess there with that bolt, if that was me, because I broke a rocker cover and I had to buy a second hand one. So that's not too bad, but the longer ones are going to be for up here, I would imagine, in between there. I don't know how many longer ones I have, but it might just be the one there. And they come with this little kind of plasticky washer. Is it plastic? Oh, it's metal. Oh, my blood's running cold. Oh, it's metal. I bit that there. Right, let's just get it in the car. No more eating it. Oh, there we go. So we're just going to go around them and do them all at once. This is a new gasket because when I changed the rocker cover, I did fit a new gasket. New plan, I'm going to take them all off and then put them all back in, because just in case there's a little bit of alignment needing done, that doesn't look bang on centre there. It looks as if it's just touched over slightly down in the hole. So if I slacken them all off and then just start them all loose to make sure it's in the right position, and then we'll sequence them down after that. That was plan B, this is plan C. These are all studs. I forgot, these are like nuts and washers, and that's a stud. So to get the studs out to fit our new kit, we need to take the whole rocker cover off.
So to remove the full rocker cover, I basically need to remove everything that's connected to it. First I remove the boost pipe joint and cover the open end of the pipe left on the car with a glove. Then round the back we have a throttle cable to remove, followed by the high tension leads. Then there's two breather pipes on the valve cover that need removed, and lastly the nuts can be buzzed off.
So we need to remove this and make sure no crap falls in, and it'll give us a little look at the cams and stuff, and maybe expose the chain. I'm sure it does while we're here. So let's try and prise this up. I'm going to have to reuse the gasket though, which is unfortunate. Something fell there. Mm-hmm. Did you hear it? Mm-hmm. Where did it go though? Something definitely fell. Right, so if it had a stud, it should have a washer. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and the one in the middle 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So there's one fell. Oh no man, if that's in there that's bad news. Did you hear it? Play back the noise again. There it's there. Oh my god. Look. There.
I see it.
It's a good job I found that there. Oh my god, that would have blew the engine. That would have smashed the rockers and everything, the valves, the lot. She hates me. I think it's my negligence though. Thank God, man. I'm going to double check this again though to make sure that's all that fell. Oh, you wee bitch. Oh, the rubber's on it. That was close, man. This car, man. I'm going to double check everything, count everything. I'm no chancing it. Did that come out? Yeah, it's came out. Oh yeah, it's out. So that one's came, the studs came out with the nut. Let's just try and be sensible here and not blow the car up before we can challenge it against our other 4-wheel drive car. Also want to note as well, this is the last time I wear this dirty clothing in these videos. We're going to get brand new apparel, is that what you call it? Brand new apparel for the YouTube channel only that I promise I won't wear anywhere else. And we might even sell you guys some, or give you it for free.
So some of these studs are tight in there, so I'm just working them off a little bit loose and then back tight again, slowly working them out to make sure that I don't snap any. You can see this one's really tight, so I'm just taking it a little bit at a time. And then off with the last one, and that is all the studs removed.
So just like we done on the last episode with, what did I do it on? Oh, an inlet manifold. We're going to clean the threads in here because some of them are kind of full of 30 odd year old crud. No idea how long those studs were in there for. Went through a lot of heat cycles. So I'm just using the trick again. This is one new stud. I have compared it to one of the studs that came out, so it's a 1 thread pitch, and I'm going through Darren's kit again, and it's number 6, so 6.6 by 1. Right, that goes in there, trust me, I've done it. So we're going to look for 6 by 1 on this. Aim 6 times 1 into the drawer and get a little socket set again, and good guess, it's that one there. Quarter drive ratchet, and we can now clean all these threads up just to make sure that we're not going to break any new studs down in the cylinder head. First one down, I chose an easy one out of sight there, and that is the rubbish we're taking out there, so it's just worthwhile doing it. I try and love the car as much as I can and hope that one day she'll love me back. If not, I will scrap her down and sell her for parts. Right, I'm going to do one live, except it's no live, but you know what I mean. And I'm going to put a light on and not flicker sometimes, but I'm going to try and dim it down. It's because it's so important that I get this straight. If I cut this at an angle, it's game over, it's ruined. So I'm starting it with my fingers, and once it's going good, I'll then get the ratchet on. It needs to be straight. Otherwise we're cutting a whole new thread into this. I think I'm okay there. Any resistance whatsoever, we're going to have to back off. And you can see if Michelle comes round here, we're starting to knock some of the rubbish out the bottom here. See it coming?
Yeah.
And it's going nice and easy. There shouldn't be. We're only cleaning threads, we're not cutting threads. Quite a lot coming out this. And if you get a little bit tight or whatever, back it off and then go back in again. It'll start loosening all the rubbish. Oh, there's loads falling out that. So we're all the way through now, so I know we're clean. Time to come back out. No power tools when you're doing this, guys, trust me. It might be a slow process and it might be a bit anal, but it's going to be so much worth it in the long run. Save yourself a lot of headaches over here, Michelle. So most of it fell out the bottom, but we've still got some rubbish there. And we're not blowing it or anything because we don't want to blow it in there. We need to keep it all out. And look, if Michelle can get close in there, look at that nice lovely thread. You can see it shining from there. Only 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 more to go. 11. Oh, I've still got that to take out. 11 more to go. I'm actually in my element here, I'm loving this. I just love fixing stuff.
But because it's actually going right for a change.
Who said it's going right? There's a long way to go here. I just love fixing stuff. Gets me out of bed in the morning. No one gets to see the screaming though. And there is a lot of screaming. I'm sure there's a few viewers here that just love fixing stuff.
Tinkering?
Tinkering, yep. Another one bites the dust. I'll say something, I don't know how many people I actually know who have project cars and love tinkering on them, even though they know it's never going to see the tarmac again. But they still tinker.
So you try to tell us or something about this car?
This is going to see tarmac. I promised my viewers that. I promised that when I started this. Go back to me. Last one. Well, I've got the middle one, but I did actually see somewhere that someone else had this kit before. And I'm not sure if they mentioned that one of them was too short, they needed a longer bolt.
So there is only one long one for the middle. Either the long one's no long enough, or they never got a long one in the kit, so you're going to have to do some investigating with that middle stud there. And then clean all the surface up before we put the rocker cover back on, and then finally tighten it down.
The surface here is actually pretty clean, so it's just a quick wipe to take off the residue and to ensure the gasket is going to seal properly. And just one final double check to make sure I haven't dropped anything else in there, and I can start slipping the rocker cover back on. First part of the fitting kit is to slide a little washer, and I'm going to fit them all in place before putting the bolts in. All the bolts are starting and turning down nice and free now that all the threads have been cleaned, so it was time well spent. And now I'm just going to tighten down the cover in a star-shaped sequence to draw the gasket down evenly. While I have the tap and die kit out, I thought it was best to remove the distributor cap and clean up the threads, as there was one of the threads that wasn't great. It plays an important role, this cap, so it's important that it's fitted securely. And then my clippers arrived for the MAF sensor, so we could clip it in place and snap it down, which means no more cable tie. Now it's time to address that rather noisy exhaust system. I do have the standard system which I'm working on here, and it does have a portion of the old centre section still on, so I've managed to buzz that off using a little bit of heat, and you can see that it's pretty much ruined, but we're still able to save the back box. So now it's time to wrestle the current exhaust tip off, which is pretty stuck on there, so it took a bit of perseverance to get it wiggled off. Now I can bolt up the back box that we're going to be using from now on. I'm not 100% convinced by the way it's sitting, and something I've never been a huge fan of is how much the rear silencer is actually on show here. Struggling to get it to fit correctly, so I've replaced a rear hanger and hopefully that does the trick.
I don't like this showing. What's the bets that old one's going back on?
I think I'm busy.
I say it every episode, this is Pulsar life. So basically the issues we're having, if you've not seen on the time lapse, is the centre section here which I've dropped at the sports cat I've got on. Basically doesn't have a flange on this side, it was piped. Doesn't have a flange on this side, it was piped straight into this and then clamped with this. The exhaust back box, which it's a Jasma box, but I'm assuming this is standard because I think I've seen this before. Works on all the standard mounts as well, and it does have a flange. So to match flange to an unflange, I'm either going to have to weld a flange on or cut that one off, because that does slip into this, and then I could clamp it again. But then if I don't like it, then we'll just walk back. I've ruined it, have I? No, I've not ruined it, because this is still no flanged. But I'll have ruined the back box if I cut the flange off. And if I cut that centre section and weld that flange onto that, then I can't put this back on because it'll be too short. Pulsar life. Oh, I don't feel well. Are you loving life in there, Michelle?
Do I suit it?
What?
Do I suit it?
Do you suit it? If you suit it so much, you can take it in the 4-wheel drive road trip that's coming up, and I'll take the other 4-wheel drive car.
No.
And when you break down, I'll just leave you.
Listen, she's not going to make a four-wheel drive road trip, let's be honest.
Do you seriously believe I'm going to give up on this?
I believe that she's going to give up on you.
Oh, there's every chance.
Sorry, she's given up on you.
8 years ago. She gave up on the last owner, that's why he sold them to me.
Aye. I will be very surprised if the road trip happens this year, I'm not going.
Wow. Thumbs down for you, Michelle. Thumbs down. Poor attitude, that.
8 years. 8 years.
Betty, I'll overtake you in this on the 4-wheel drive road trip.
Bet what?
Dinner. At the
Overnight stay.
Overnight stay
On the road trip.
on the road trip. Getting busy in this section of the car now, guys. I've disconnected the handbrake cable. I will explain in a moment why. But first I want to show you guys the exhaust. I've removed the centre section here. During the debate on whether or not I should cut this and flange it, or cut that and sleeve it, I think I'm going to cut this and flange it, but I'm not going to do it because I really want it to be good, so I'm going to take it down to an exhaust company. Now, if you look there, this is the exact same shape, only that one is longer. So I'm going to give him both, show him the bend and the length, and tell him to cut and weld me on a new flange so that we're not even using this. And then that way it's just going to be done properly, and hopefully we should have the standard exhaust, which is a Jasma box, back up on the car. If we look back here, I'm not a fan of this. Do actually prefer the look of that, but it's too noisy. It drones. On another note, it's spigot ring time. So I have removed the wheel here, but this handbrake cable was always sticky, so it was, and it's basically completely seized in the sleeve there. I don't know if it's a case of either some of the sleeves broken and it's kind of stuck in there, or water's got in and then kind of corroded or whatever's happened. Now I want to talk about that for a second. When I was an apprentice at college, one of the lecturers always spoke about if you left handbrake cables in brake fluid overnight, it was a magic fix for this. I don't know if the brake fluid kind of, I don't know, if the brake fluid breaks down the corrosion and unseizes the cable or whatever, I don't know. But these cables for this car, I'm pretty sure are Japan only now. You can get them, maybe £100 each or something, which I'm willing to pay, that's fine. But it's the delay of a month or so probably to get them over. So there's no harm in throwing this in some brake fluid and finding out exactly if it's going to work or not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to set a stool up here with this bottle of brake fluid, and I'm going to leave it overnight, and then tomorrow I'm going to take the exhaust down to the repair company and get that done. So tomorrow I can bolt the exhaust back on. We'll be able to tell if the handbrake cable is resolved, just well enough just now until the ones from Japan come. And we can do the spigot rings and the wheel nuts, which I've yet to show you. Run it up to temperature, because I want to run it to temperature with the new exhaust on, because it's too loud and it's terrible. So that's the plan. Run it to temperature, bleed the coolant system, but I'm going to set up this brake fluid to show you guys. Just let's try it. Everything's to come off this back end anyway when we rebuild it and do all the bushes and stuff. But for now, because we want to do the road trip, I'm just trying to get it through an MOT, so minimum requirements really. And then for there, once I know it runs and it's not going to break down every 10 minutes, we can throw loads of new parts. Got some parts in the office there, good parts. But I'm not prepared to fit them until it starts behaving. It's a threat to the car. So let's get this done. So I don't know if I dip this in here, and do you know what capillary reaction is? I think that's the thing, like if you dip a paintbrush in paint and it starts travelling up the way, it kind of gets sucked in. It's called capillary reaction, but that's between bristles, and I don't have bristles on a handbrake cable, so I'm just going to dunk it in. I don't know if I'm going to take this rubber off, because brake fluid will destroy that, plus it means it can get in. So let's just, it's got a wee line in here, and I'm hoping that the fluid maybe travels up and releases it, but it is solid. So dot flow brake fluid, it's not the good stuff, don't worry, I emptied it out. I'll leave it to there, Right, bets, is this going to work? I'm going to say no. It's not the same as when we were doing the engine in the last episode, but I don't believe this is going to work. But I will eat my hat if this does work. Something to note, guys, when this is done, when we've tried this is for the bin, because brake fluid is hygroscopic, which means it absorbs moisture. So there's going to be a lot of moisture in here overnight. So, and we've had to leave the cap off, so this fluid is for the bin. So I'm just using waste, old stuff, normal .4 stuff that we have lying around. Nothing special, but we'll see if it works or not. In the meantime, we can continue with the spigot rings.
Right, the first part is easy. We simply just have to remove the wheel first. So I'm just nipping off the lug nuts and then we can remove the wheel. So just a reminder about the spigot rings. The old set that I ordered were actually slack inside the kind of hub between the hub and the wheel. And I've ordered a new set and you won't believe it, they're actually too small. So what I'm doing first is I'm just using a wire wheel to clean all around the hub, just in case it's a little bit of corrosion that's stopping it from being a tight fit. And then I've actually pushed it on there and it's too tight now and I can't get it off, so I'm working it off with a little pick.
So just took a little bit of sandpaper around the edge there. Not really taking anything off it, I'm just trying to clean it, and it's actually perfect now. It's snug, there's no movement, it spins free, but it is nice and snug and tight, and we can get it on and off. So let's hope that when we put it in the wheel we can then offer it up and it should now work. Come on. Yes, that's nice, there's no movement across the hub, and to top it all off, we have some nice new wheel nuts that we're going to fit as well. I almost nearly ordered the wrong ones, so just want to be kind of let you guys understand when you're ordering these things. I use this thread pitch gauge. I've spoke about it before when I'm doing tapping and dyeing and stuff. Put light on, you can measure the thread pitch. That was a 1, now I know what side it is because I ordered them, but I almost did order the 1.5 thread pitch, which would have been wrong. It was 1.25. So, making sure I've ordered the right thread pitch that matches the thread on the stud, they should fit, no bother. Actually similar to the ones I have on the Civic FN2 Type R as well, so they're quite lightweight, but we're going to fit. So I've got a pack of 20. No, I don't, because there are no 5 studs. I've got a pack of 16, and we're going to fire these on, and then hopefully we've got nice spigot ring sitting nice and flush, and we don't have, because some of these are a 21 and some of these are a 19, and they're actually sitting too wide and they're going to foul against the side of the wheel. This is nice and narrow, so it's going to be a lot better, and it's going to look a lot better as well. And there's some upgrades to do in this area which are going to make it look even better, but that's for once it starts behaving itself, like I mentioned earlier.
So that's finally the spigot issue resolved, and with these new wheel nuts it's going to improve the overall look of the wheel and tyre combination. And I'm just giving it a final check over, spinning the wheel to make sure there is no play.
We now need to repeat the process with the spigot ring and the wheel nuts on all the 4 corners.
So I have decided to adopt a cheat method while I'm doing this. So first I'm going to take off the driver's side wheel and I'm just cleaning up the hub the same as the other side. So my little cheat method is just simply to use the one hub to sand down the last 3 remaining spigot rings.
It's a new morning, it's time to reveal the outcome of the handbrake cable, and I've got some updates on the exhaust for you guys. It's all fun and games. Full disclosure, I'm not expecting this to work in any way, shape or form. Also need to consider the effects of brake fluid. It is corrosive, so if it helps here, what has it done? You know what I mean, as a consequence. But I'm not expecting it, but this is it, it's live, so it's hard to tell just by looking at it. So just going to grip both ends. Sure it's shite top right enough. I'm going to do that, so let's flip it up and see if we can work it, but it looks as if it's shit top anyway, to be honest, which we did suspect, so we're no shocked here. So it's gubbed. You can see it's actually pulling here because there's a little flex like that when you do it, but it's not actually pulling the cable through, so it must be seized in here. Which is cool, but it just goes to prove, don't believe everything you're ever told. It's better to put a new cable on anyway. I wanted to try, it's not worked. I did think it was bull. We're going to continue with the exhaust work now, which is going to be another dilemma. But it's Pulsar life. I see it 10 times an episode, this is Pulsar life. Unfortunately, all the companies I spoke to said they needed the whole car down in order to fabricate the exhaust. They said it was due to the two pipes not actually being the same angle, and when I cut the flange off you can see there it does hip out slightly different, which means I need to refit the loud one in order to bleed the coolant system. It's time, I think, to run the Pulsar for as long as I have ran it on this channel. It's time to bleed up the coolant system. Couple of things I've done. I've set up extraction here, which is going to lead out. There's a little fan there. It's going to blow all the fumes that way. Hopefully dull down some of the noise a little bit. We need to run it up, make sure we're getting heat inside. And also we need to make sure that none of the coolant pipes have burst again and there's no more mistakes in there. By running this up for a long time, getting heat through it, it's going to pressurise the system and it should let us know if we have any leaks underneath. So there's a lot riding on this next 20 minutes or so for me. What I'm going to do is I'm going to sit you guys up and I'm going to stop every now and again to let you know how it's running. First start, let's see. Now with the car running up to temperature, I've switched the blower motor onto the max setting, and I've also turned up the temperature dial to as high as it can go. This will allow the coolant to start flowing through the heater matrix and will give us hot air and bleed the system properly. While it's running and I'm still nervous about any coolant leaks, I'm just constantly monitoring everything to make sure it's running okay. Update if you guys can hear me, it's been running for a couple of minutes now. The revs are sitting just over 1000. I think that might be pretty normal. The temperature gauge hasn't coming up yet, but we are getting some slightly warm air coming out, which is good. Gauges are okay for now, I'm sure that's oil temp, but it won't get warm for a little while yet. The middle one is oil pressure, which looks pretty okay. So we're just going to have to run it until we get the coolant up and it stays in the middle, roughly about 90 degrees. But we are getting some hot air here, which is good. Update guys, temperature is up, well better with the flash on. We need to go up a little bit more and stay there, so make sure it's not overheating. Everything else is sitting pretty okay just now. We are running not too bad, but every now and again I think it's got a little hesitant misfire on it. But probably could be doing with new plugs, and we need to double check what our fueling is like. Also, I might do away with that carbon canister because it may be the issue, but it is ticking away. The thermostat's not open yet, so we have to keep going. We need it to open to allow the coolant to come down through the radiator to get any air out of the system. We are filling up in here a wee bit fumy, and that's with the extraction, so I think it's still running a little bit rich. But we're going to keep it going just now, just to let the temperature get all the way up and to make sure the system is bled. Then we can keep dealing with the coolant system, then we can keep dealing with the engine management and running with the car separate from the cooling issue. As long as this gets up to temperature and it doesn't leak, then we can start revisiting everything else. So, after about 30 minutes of running, you can see the temperature is still sitting good. Revs might have raised slightly.
Oil temperature's up. Everything's sitting good, oil pressure. Everything's sitting not too bad. We've seen the fans kicking in a moment ago, so I know they're working. We're starting to get a little bit of heat coming out of the expansion bottle. I've left the cap off just to let any air come out, any bubbles. Pipe into the radiator and the return down below are both nice and warm. So some kind of good news, some come sad news. The good news is I've pulled one of the plugs out, and focus again here. I did give it a little clean up before I put it in, there. So I cleaned it before I put it in just to tip, and it's running okay by the looks of it. It's not filled up, so normally that would be black, and I have ran this for as long as I have ever ran this Pulsar without driving it, or maybe even as long as it's ever ran, for a good 30 minutes or so. So it was soaking the plugs and fouling the plugs after 1 minute, and that's it after 30 minutes, and that's an old plug, it's no new, so ignore all the black stuff around the edge. Just looking at the tip, which doesn't look too bad. On other news, it's dry under there just now, but we did see that little drip that I've added in. Don't know if it's just condensation build up. It is quite, no damp in here, but you do get condensation in here when it's cold, so there would have been a lot of build up in there, and I don't know if vibration's causing it to drip. It looks very clear, the fluid, whereas we've filled this with very blue coolant, so it's hard to tell, and it's no dropping as frequent as ever happened before. I was always left with a big puddle below, so it's not a big puddle, but something to keep an eye on. I have actually put my torch down the back and watched it while it was running. Everything looks dry. I might pull off the intercooler and have another look just to double check, because that is one of the biggest concerns taking this anywhere long, is that it's going to leak coolant somewhere, which obviously isn't ideal. Temperature wise, everything was all running good. All the rest of it, that's all good stuff. I'm going to drain the oil now. It's time to get fresh oil in this. If you're running a lot of fuel in, if you're over fueling, some of it will get down past the rings and it will end up in your oil. I've pulled the dipstick out, there's a little hint there, so it's time just to, it needs an oil change anyway, and we have the filter here now, so we're going to drain the oil, change the oil.
I'm sure everyone is familiar with how to carry out an oil change, but I'm just going to talk through it anyway. First, I've removed the sump plug, and that will allow the oil to drain out. The oil is nice and hot because the car has been running, so it's flowing out nice. Next, I'm just removing the old oil filter, genuine Nissan, and I'm replacing it with a genuine Nissan with a new genuine Nissan sump plug and crush washer as well. So now that everything's drained out, I'm just putting the sump plug back in, and then we can tighten it down. I've just nipped it up here to allow the crush washer to crush, and then I will final torque it later. Next, I'm just wiping down the area so that when we run the car up, any leaks will be visible. Then I can spin on the new oil filter and then add in the oil. I'm using Miller's oil this time, and you can see there I'm pretty much making a mess everywhere. I then spin the cap on, start the car up, let it run for around 30 seconds so that the oil can start pumping round to the filter, and then I start checking my levels. I top up if required, and you can see there I'm actually using a funnel this time so that I don't make any more mess. The washer system is blocked from sitting for so long, so I've blown some compressed air through it to free everything off.
That does sound like Michael Jackson.
And now with my best Michael Jackson impression out the way, I can fill up the washer system. I finally found use for that coolant bottle that I tried to use earlier.
Look! Why the fuck just sell you? Look at that! Look at the f***ing size of that! And look at that! Some folk just... Why bother?
So now, with another problem ticked off the list, with the washer system now fully working, it was time to do a light check on the car before its inspection. I found on the passenger side I have no side light and no dip beam, so this needs investigated. I've power probed the bulbs and both of them seem to be working, so we know it's not an issue with them. I've also tested the fuse and it's okay, and there's power getting to the wire.
Now even though the bulbs are still working, you can see here they look a little bit rough. So I've used electrical cleaner on the plug side and I fitted new bulbs to be safe. And hey presto, we now have all 4 lights. And it's good news with the handbrake cable. I did actually manage to find one in the UK which came a lot quicker than I expected. And you can see here the difference with the new cable here compared to the old cable. I don't think any amount of brake fluid would have managed to cure that, so now I'm just feeding the new handbrake cable through and connecting everything back up.
So, one more issue to address is there's a slight sweat here on the back diff. I have a confession about the back diff that I want to share with you guys. So before I actually became a mechanic, I'm sure I had this back cradle off. And one of the things I did when I done that was change all the oil, so it got new diff oil. Now, I think it's hard to recall, but I think at the time I maybe wasn't a believer in centrifugal force. And because the diff was off, and it wasn't in this position here, with a drain hole and a refill hole, I think at the time when I filled it, the refill hole was actually pointing vertical up the way, and the drain one was shown as a, I don't know, but I think I've overfilled this. I think this is full of oil when I'm sure it's only supposed to take 1 litre, and I think this is full. We're about to find out, so what I'm going to do first is clean it down, and that will show, clean it down just to get the gunk away, and that's going to show us the overspill. I've no idea how much oil was in this, but I'm scared in case, because I want to use this car a lot, I'm scared in case I blow up the diff. We do have a spare diff, but I don't want to blow this one up, so I'm just doing it right now and I'm going to address it, and let's see what comes out the box.
Firstly, I'm using brake cleaner to clean down the area that the sweat has been happening in the transfer box. So I'm actually removing the filler plug and not the drain plug. You can see the drain plug at the bottom, which would be used to drain everything out, but I've overfilled this, I believe. Normally you fill the fluid in the fill plug until it starts running back out, and you can see here when I've cracked the plug off, there's a bit of an overflow. So I'm catching all the excess so I can measure how much I overfilled the box. Then I've just tightened the filler plug again and cleaned the area, then measured the oil that came out, and you can see there's 250 millilitres. With that done, I can lower the ramp down and it's time for the MOT inspection. The most crucial part of any MOT test is the tester's glasses, so I've took the time to pre-make a set before the test.
Right, I can hear him coming. I'm a little bit nervous. Oh, I don't know. Has it passed? Has it failed? I'm very nervous.
Pass.
No, it didn't.
Michelle, you've backed me into a corner here. I can't move. Why have you still got that? I've passed. The car has won. I've won.
No, you've no won. You've passed the first hurdle, Paul. It's no one.
It has. It's on the road and it's ready.
It's still going to break down and I'm still going to need this.
That is. You can't keep threatening me with
I'm
this.
going to bring it with me because you're never going to make the road trip.
I'm going to make the road trip. Book the ferry. It's time to go.
I'll book the ferry. I'm going to kick your ass on my car. You're not going to make it.
My car is going to destroy your car.
Well, we get the viewers to vote whether I use this or I don't use it.
Michelle, my car is going to I'm going to overtake you on the road trip. That is the bet.
You have no chance.
I have.
Welcome to the 4-wheel drive road trip challenge. And as you can see, I have done it proper. I have a 90s legend right in front of me here, the Nissan Pulsar GTIR. So over the last few weeks, you guys have seen us working on this car tirelessly to get it ready for this episode and ready for this road trip. We're by no means finished this car, as you can see by all the work we still have to do. But we're getting through the jobs. We still have got loads of upgrades to do around this area as well, which will be coming in the future. But first we need to take this car on a road trip to see if it's actually going to start behaving and worthwhile getting more and more attention. It's only worth it if it's going to start behaving and be reliable. And as I mentioned earlier, I've made the correct choice for this road trip. When you look at how aggressive this bonnet is, when you look at the boot spoiler on the car and just its overall design for a 1991 car, it's also got a 2 litre turbocharged engine, 4-wheel drive, which is a monster in this little car. From the factory, someone will correct me, I think about 225 brake from the factory. I'm not 100% sure how much is currently still in mine. It's had a lot of work done to it, but there is so much development you can do on these engines. The power, there's a lot there, to the point that the gearbox can handle, I will say. I think for where we're taking this car on a road trip, I have made the perfect choice. So just to finish off before we start the road trip, this little car has the name Baby Godzilla for a reason, and we're going to hopefully display that if it is reliable on the road trip. But it's not the only car that will be joining us on the road trip, because unfortunately I have a ball and chain.
Ignore everything Paul has just said, because I have got the right car for this road trip, and I'm going to explain why. This is a Subaru Impreza WRX STI. It's basically a rally car for the road. Subaru released the Impreza in 1992 and they took it rallying. It was most famously rallied by Colin McRae. This colour blue and the gold wheels are probably the most iconic Subaru you'll see on the road. This is a WRX STI, which doesn't stand for a sexually transmitted infection. It actually stands for Subaru Technica International, and we're going to pretend that I knew that. With this being the WRX STI, it has more power than the standard WRX. And then again on top of that, Paul tells me that this has been remapped, so it's got high and low boost switches, which is more than enough power to beat that shitty box car behind me.
With introductions over and Michelle's car filled with rather expensive fuel, it's time to make the second part of our trip, which isn't by land.
I mean, I don't know whether Paul can show you that wee red sign over there, but it doesn't fill me with confidence for getting the car on the boat. However, despite my fears, we managed to get both cars on the ferry without any mishaps and still keep our hair dry.
So how's your trip been so far?
Uneventful.
Eventful or uneventful?
Uneventful.
Really?
Yes.
Did you not take the wrong turn on the way here? And did we no nearly miss the ferry because you were running late? No?
No.
Leaving all chances of recovery behind, the Pulsar is now in deep water, pardon the pun. As we approach the Isle of Arran, we can see why Drive Tribe chose this location for Richard Hammond's Subaru. Stopping for supplies in a nice spot next to another Subaru, our car seemed to be making a mating call.
So I don't know whether the camera's going to pick up on the noise right now, but that is the immobiliser going off on the Subaru. So I now have to drive with this going off for quite a while, and I'm now stuck myself as well. Come to Arran, he said, it'll be fun, he said. I slagged his car, I said it wasn't going to make it, and now it's mine that is causing all the problems. I'm actually so embarrassed. Off, Paul. Just off. I want to go home.
But before we can go anywhere, I need to make an immediate stop at the nearest fuel station. And it's not just Michelle that's having car troubles. Fuel flap's not opening. Nah, the boot's not opening either. I need fuel. Some start to this trip. Look Michelle, look, there's a boat. Oh, it worked, I just opened, it's alright. I'm still winning on points. Is this a points-based challenge?
If it is, I think I lose.
How much is this? 155. It's not even good stuff. What do you pay?
I have no idea.
Need every penny we can get here.
We're off on the road trip round Arran. I just want to give you guys my first impression of the Pulsar. This is my first kind of road trip that I can show you guys since it has been working. There is a few little hiccups. Obviously it is so loud, as you can hear, and that's me just kind of going. Once I'm on motorway speed, it's really droney, which is why I wanted to reduce the back box. I've got no radio, not that you could hear a radio anyway. My blower motor only works on speed setting 4, so the heater resistor's packed in. My tweeters actually fell off the door when I shut the door, and they're not even wired in, so they're lying on the floor. My boot latch has stopped working, so I can't get into the boot, and I have to break in to put fuel in it. But apart from that, it's running pretty good. The mission for this car really is to complete 1 lap, which we are attempting right now. But I think it's already got 1 little win and 1 point on the scoreboard, because it has actually made it to Arran, which was one of the biggest kind of doubts, to be honest, and anxiety for me to bring it here. Oh, someone was flashing there. An old Civic? I don't know. I actually thought he was flashing because it might be a traffic camera ahead, but yeah, I don't think it's running 100%, to be honest with you. In fact, it's running shit right now. Not got any power. Don't know if it likes that fuel, but it does need a setup anyway. I think one of the issues I'm having with the car is that it's been bored out to a 2.1 technically, and it's got the forged pistons, but we still have the standard injectors, so we've got the standard volume of fuel being fired in by the ECU to a slightly larger cylinder, so it does actually need set up. I don't think I could tune it through the standard ECU, so we might need a NIS tune or some sort of way to piggyback or something to actually get it tuned, but I feel as if it does need set up, to be honest. It does need a big cleaning of detail and all that kind of stuff, but as I've said in previous episodes, I'm not prepared to actually go into all that kind of detail. If it breaks down on me, then it's going to sit for a few months again. So if it behaves itself on this road trip, wow, then I'm going to start doing more and more and more. And we already have a lot of the parts, but I actually just came across some epic views here, and I can see why Drive Tribe already came to this island for a road trip. Some of the road is a wee bit snaky, but we're just here for a cruise. We're not here to set lap times. So we're going past Lumlash Golf Club right now, and the view across the water is unbelievable. And the view in my rear view mirror of the Subaru is also equally as epic.
Paul's just stopped for a wee second. I don't know what's going on. Maybe he's having trouble because, well, his car's a heap of crap.
Unfortunately for Michelle, I've only stopped to capture the view of the whole L and seize an opportunity to relive my childhood.
Thought we were on a road trip, but apparently we're on a big child's holiday. If he had fallen there, I would honestly have wet my pants.
I mistimed that there. It's been a few years, so I've been honest. I hurt my bum there.
Every time we turn a corner, I am just blown away by the views that I'm getting. The roads are a little bit bumpy, I'm not going to lie, but in my Subaru I don't feel it. I'm designed for these kind of roads. Paul? probably struggling in that little ugly thing that he's in. But it is just so beautiful here, guys, that it's unbelievable. It's hard to believe that we were only 50 minutes over the water and we're in this absolute treasure trove of beauty everywhere. It's sad because I don't think the video is going to do justice to just how beautiful it is. I have full confidence in the Subaru that it's going to get me through it. I'm not so sure Paul's going to have full confidence in his little car. It surprised me already because it's got here. I honestly didn't think we'd get here. And it has made it, so I'm surprised. I'm happy for him, but I don't think it's going to be a very comfortable drive. I think he's going to be quite close to the road and it's going to be very bumpy and the awkward bits of the country road, and it's going to be so loud. I've actually turned the radio down, so I'm just chilling out, taking in all this beauty, listening to the radio. He has nothing, he has no radio. I've got the temperature very comfortable. I was a bit warm when we got off the boat. I'm sitting nice and cool now, nice and relaxed. His fans don't even work properly, so I'm not sure how he's feeling. I've got the best car, and he knows it as well. He knows it. I've got the best car. She's indestructible. She'll complete the road trip, no bother. I do love it. I do love the Subaru. There's just something about it.
Something I'm having to keep my eye on all the time is all the gauges. This is the longest I've ever driven this car, so I'm looking at the oil temperature, I'm looking at the oil pressure, I'm looking at my boost gauge, I'm checking my temperature gauge for the coolant. You'll have noticed that on the ferry I was actually checking to make sure that the coolant is staying in the system, which it seems to be doing, so we're okay for now. But we've got a long way to go on the road trip. Apparently it's 56 miles for one lap of the island, which I thought it was actually going to be around 20 miles, to be honest. Total that with about the 20 mile trip either way to get from my house down to the ferry port. So it's a bit of a test for the Pulsar, considering it's got a reputation for breaking down, and it's history with me in general, to be honest.
Just a few miles into our trip and we're already making our second stop to share the beautiful views of Arran with you guys. But it wasn't long before the view was spoiled, with the Subaru making yet another mating call on the trip. You're laughing, but it's not going off, starting.
What? Go. The fuel pump went. Did you leave something on there?
No, nothing's on. Everything's gone mental. Well, my hazards are gone crazy. Worst road trip ever!
Oh, damn it. I was about to do the classic Top Gear, just drive away and leave her. Bye bye. To the people of Arran, we apologise. It's apparently a 6-point turn to get out of an open wide car park. Wow.
It makes me panic! And I forget how to drive.
Oh, that was, it makes me panic and I forget how to drive. So far I think the Pulsar is winning, to be honest. I've had to start and stop a few times to catch some views. It's dealing with some rough road conditions, and the Subaru seems to be having some more problems than I'm having right now. So I think so far the Pulsar is the best 4-wheel drive car available to me. It's quite fitting that there's some rally pedigree in both the Nissan Pulsar GTIR and the Subaru Impreza, because some of these road conditions right now are absolutely horrendous. Just crazy wee hump after that crazy wee hump. Is spectacular. You can see the Ailsa Craig perfectly right now. It just keeps drawing my eyes. It just looks so good. Ailsa Craig is basically a big rock of granite that sits out in the sea. You just really have to see it for yourself, to be honest. I want to test the Pulsar a little bit, but these roads are just killing me, man. Oh, yeah. How are you finding the roads, Michelle?
I was going to put this on. They're a bit bumpy, aren't they?
They're absolutely horrendous. But on the plus side, I have found a swing set with 2 swings on it. Care to join me?
But you can go faster than you can.
No chance. I'm actually winning this challenge right now anyway.
Well, yeah, because I found another problem with my car. But, so new challenge.
What do you mean another problem? It's not your car, it's mine.
No, I found another wee problem.
What is it?
It's the caliper's getting worse.
The what?
The caliper's getting worse.
Wait, what do you mean the caliper's getting worse?
I may have a caliper stuck on.
You gave a lot of big talk. You gave a lot of big talk.
I feel like you've deliberately neglected my car, and I'm actually kind of crapping my pants right now because I've switched it off and I need to switch it back on again.
So what's going to happen?
Alarm's probably going to go off.
Just don't lock the car.
I didn't lock it last time.
I don't think the roads are actually... They're not road trip roads right now. We need to actually sit down and find a road trip road. We're losing daylight. I don't think we're going to be able to complete a lap in daylight. I think we're losing the light too quick. So we might actually have to revisit tomorrow. So I'm agreeing on staying because I think we need to look at the map and try and find a driving road, because right now this is not a driving road and it's not a driving experience.
There's absolutely zero chance for me to test my car against your car, to be fair. I've got no overtakes.
There's no chance.
I'm too busy trying to
I don't even think there's a section so far where I could say to Michelle, I'll keep up with you or you keep up with me. And you've got a humped caliper, so we're on. But new challenge, whoever goes fastest in the swings
buys dinner.
Buys dinner. I'm paying for everything right now.
It's pinching my butt.
Is there WD-40 in there?
It's actually insane.
I'm definitely winning. Oh, I'm going to bump. Oh.
You're not winning.
Oh, it's hurting my crying. I'm higher.
No, you're not.
I'm
No chance you're higher. No.
I can't do that, it's too short. It's hurting my bum. Right, best dismount.
No!
Don't jump, you're supposed to walk off it.
I'm an absolute...
Oh, that was sweet.
I'm not ready yet.
I'll catch you.
I can't, I'm too scared. I need to slow down, I need to slow down.
So I've won best dismount.
No, you've not. I've not dismounted yet, have I?
Oh wait, where's Skegness Raceway?
He missed it, but that was the best.
Skegness.
I've never been.
Did you? Oh, my thighs. The chain was cutting in.
It's usually embarrassing, they can probably hear my breathing right.
Mine as well.
So I didn't know if this existed, I don't know why you did, obviously I've never been to Arran, but this is a memorial site for 2 pilots, Petty Officer Pilot James William Crowe, who was only 19, and leading Allman Gunner John Millen Martin, who was only 20, and they obviously were flying 1944, would that be World War II, and they've crashed off the shore of Arran.
With Michelle's history lesson over and no clear winner of the swing contest, it's time to hit the road again. We're fighting the daylight, so we need to make up some time. some smooth road once more. It really helps to try and make up the time when we've got a little bit of smooth tarmac ahead. This is better, but it doesn't last long. You maybe get a mile if you're lucky, and then it's back to bomb site. This is genuinely taking as much concentration as Silverstone Racing Circuit to navigate around these twisty roads, these dipping roads. Keep your eyes on the road because of the scenery, and avoid the potholes at the same time. Honestly changed the gears that many times. I'm starting to think I'm in a Fast and the Furious movie.
With the ferry terminal in sight, we have finally reached one of the most popular tourist destinations in Arran, Loch Ranza. We paused here for a moment to take in the spectacular scenery. It's such a calm evening, and with the sun setting it made everything more picturesque.
While down by the waterside, I'm taking an opportunity to show off my, I call it skiffing, Michelle calls it skipping, but you guys can let us know in the comments, stone skills. In doing this, I attracted an angry swan, and when nature got a bit too close, I made a beeline for yet another set of swings, even though Michelle had told me we didn't have time. Little did I know the grass was slippy, and this set of swings would be my undoing. As if falling in front of people at the bus stop wasn't embarrassing enough, I then had to change my clothes in the middle of the street into dry new ones. There was even still pieces of grass falling out my trousers. But not that Michelle was concerned with helping me, because even though 5 minutes had now passed, she still couldn't breathe for laughing. With the roads not being suitable for the Pulsar, and now I fell and am covered in muck, the only thing that could soften all those blows was the beautiful scenery we were still yet to see. We are 15 miles from completing a lap. With the sun coming down, we thought it was best to leave Loch Ranza before we were chased out for indecent exposure. But in that 15 miles, Arran still had so much to show us. At the end of the day, to add more insult to injury, we've finally found the best piece of road for driving. But since the sun was setting, More and more wildlife were starting to surface, so we actually had to drive slowly and just admire the beauty for the next 15 miles. Something that was becoming more apparent to me in this road trip is that some people are never lucky enough to own one of these cars in a lifetime, and I'm fortunate enough to have both.
Paul may be fortunate enough to own both of these cars, but I'm the unfortunate one having to drive the Subaru with the alarm going off again as we come to the end of day one.
As we pull up to the hotel to end day one, we still have confidence that there is driving roads and driving experience yet to be had on the island. But having already caused enough disturbances on the island, I'm handing Michelle the 10mm spanner to disconnect her battery so the alarm doesn't go off in the middle of the night, ruining any resident's stay on the island.
After running my mouth about having the better car, Paul genuinely refused to help me disconnect the battery and I was left to figure it out for myself. After alarm and brake issues, I may finally have to admit that square box over there may be in the lead after day one.
Why have you got a suspicious look on your face?
I don't. Just waiting
Just
on me.
happy. Hey, time to go and plan today's action.
Yes, let's go.
Right, so yesterday's action, we arrived here in Brodick Bay. We travelled south and managed one complete lap of the island. But you guys will have noticed we were complaining a lot about the condition of the roads, particularly down this section of the map here. Up to Kinloch Hotel was pretty bad, and it wasn't the best for the Pulsar, I'm going to be honest. It might have been a little bit better in the Subaru, but we're looking for driving roads and driver experience. So looking back at the Drive Tribe episode, when they brought Richard Hammond's Subaru Impreza Martin, the road from Corrie up to Lochranza was closed. To be honest, that was one of my favourite sections. The views there are spectacular, especially of Goatfell. So what we're going to do today is we're going to take their advice and we're going to head down the String Road, and then that'll bring us back on to the western side of the island, we can head back up north and finish back down Loch Ranza again. As they mentioned in the episode, the String Road, it looks like an exquisite piece of B road for shooting, and hopefully the surface is a lot better for the Pulsar. So that is today's plan. We're going to head down the String Road, get some shots and see how we get on with that.
For the second day in a row, we've been blessed with beautiful weather, so we plan to take full advantage of this and get as much driving in as possible.
So yesterday wasn't the best of days for either the Subaru or myself. The immobiliser just really tipped me over the edge yesterday, with me not being able to drive for more than 15 minutes before it would start going off again, and nothing I could do could fix it. So this morning I've switched the battery over for Paul's, as you'll have seen, and he is none the wiser. Paul has also brought me to a new stretch of road today. It's called the String, and I'm really hoping that I'll be able to test the Subaru on it. These cars are supposed to be great on British B roads, so now's its time to really impress me and show me just how great a car it can be. One of the most impressive things for me is the noise from the engine. I think the low rumble just really suits the car, and I know that it means business.
It's day 2, we're on the String Road, and I can't believe how well this little Nissan Pulsar is doing, especially considering it's 34 years old. This road surface we've found going through the String, oh my god, is unbelievable. This is better, this is driving. This road is unbelievable. Woo! Oh, it's a driving road, but it's also one to be careful around because there are some sharp drops. It's actually handling pretty well through these little B roads. It's starting to feel to me what a performance 90s hatchback should feel like. The gear changes make sense, the steering makes sense, the brakes make sense, for now at least. That is something that we're addressing in future episodes with the Pulsar. But does the noise make sense? I'm having to speak quite loud. I'm hoping that my microphone here is going to pick it up for you guys, but it is loud, it's droney, which is why I want to tone it down a bit. I'm just not sure the noise makes sense. It's one noise, it's one kind of drone. But then you go and do this. And there's so many noises. We're sucking in air, we've got turbo noises, we've got dump valve noises, we're popping out the back. When the 4-wheel drive hooks up and it starts putting the power down, the numbers on the dial start going up pretty quickly. And all of a sudden you're having to look a few yards down the road in this little rocket. Oh, this is a brilliant road. The String Road is the road why you come to Arran.
Oh, do you know what? Don't tell Paul, but I'm actually really starting to enjoy this. It's a really fantastic wee bit of road, and the car's just so effortless. I think we're friends again after yesterday.
See if I can catch her. Oh, the Pulsar's keeping up. She's on the brakes, it's a 30.
As we exit the String and come out at Blackwater Foot, we decided we still had plenty of time in the day, so we headed back to do the String in reverse. And when you think you've seen all the views of Arran, going back in reverse reveals so many more that you didn't think possible.
views are unbelievable. One minute you've got hedgerows, the next minute you're dipping down into the glen, and then when you resurface at the other side, it just opens off and you've got a full view of the sea. The Isle of Arran poses a difficult challenge of its own, never mind being in the Pulsar. You've got a tough choice to make between the actual driving experience and looking out to the views that are on offer. And in the Subaru behind me, although it's Michelle driving it, getting to see it on my rear view mirror just brings back loads of memories. That's my dream car, and it brings back all the memories from when I was little and I used to watch the World Rally Championship either on Channel 4 or Channel 5. That was the dream for me, a Subaru. And although I'm not driving it, it's still a pleasure to have it in my company. Maybe Michelle will give me a shot later on, but I don't know how she's enjoying it. But I'm loving the Pulsar right now.
One thing I wasn't loving was the Pulsar's thirst of fuel. Another quick fuel up and it was time to head over and complete a lap of just the top half of the island.
The road trip's starting to draw to a close now, and I'm completing it at my favourite part of all, back on the stretch between Lochranza and Brodick. The views of Peak of Goat Fell are absolutely unbelievable. The small stretch of road is definitely the driver's experience road. The trip has been absolutely amazing. The Pulsar has been amazing. The unreliable car is the reliable car. Would you believe it? Arran, it's been an absolute pleasure. Everyone has been so friendly. The place is absolutely beautiful. Yes, I have complained about the condition of some of the roads, but to be absolutely honest with you, the mainland roads right now aren't any better. It's a huge issue that the councils need to get together to sort out, to be honest. But take nothing away from Arran, it's been absolutely brilliant. The Pulsar's been brilliant. Subaru, we've tried our hardest to get you guys the road trip. The footage, the drone's been up, the wind kind of hampered it, and I've no experience with the drone. Oh, the views. We have landed probably the best 2 days weather-wise to come here. it's been clear. It's just views for days, to be honest. We've done over the string road and back up round the top, a kind of smaller lap if you will. It's been epic again. The Pulsar has been unbelievable.
So if you follow the channel, you'll know that Paul pretty much eats, sleeps and breathes cars. And if you don't, spoiler alert, he does. It means that he spends most of his life in the garage, whether that be working on customers' cars or working in his own cars. The time that he's not spending in the garage is spent looking after the 3 kids and trying to keep up with all their activities. So we don't really spend a lot of quality time together. Now I could be a nagging wife and tell him to choose me over the cars, or although I don't really like cars, I could try and be the person that gets involved a bit more. And that's what I chose to do with this road trip. Now, I'm not saying that I will ever understand why Paul loves these things so much. I'm not saying that I will ever understand fully how they work. But the more time I spend with them, getting to know them a little bit more, the more I can see why he enjoys them so much. We have had such a laugh on this road trip, like actually laughed till I was crying. Did you see him fall off that swing? The sights have been amazing. The wildlife we have seen has been just out of this world. I honestly feel like we've been transported to a different dimension. These things wouldn't have happened if I hadn't decided to get on board with Paul and his hobbies. We stayed at the most beautiful little hotel where the food was out of this world and the staff were beyond pleasant. They truly went above and beyond to make our stay here just simply amazing. I can't recommend them enough. So if you're ever in Arran, please think about booking up the Lamlash Bay Hotel, because honestly you won't regret it. Now, I know there may be a lot of you out there who get sick of their husbands or their partners and their hobbies and really just want to spend a bit more time with them. I can't recommend getting to know their hobbies a bit better with them. It works both ways. Paul gets to know some of mine. He's always there to support me when I need him. But do you know what? This has been the best thing that I have done. I'm so glad that I jumped on board with this task. Disappointed in my car to begin with, but proud of her now. So honestly, jump on board and check out their hobbies with them. You never know, you might actually learn to enjoy it, just like I have.
I don't know if you guys have noticed, it's actually the sun's starting to go down. We're a little bit later than we were last night. And I can see the ferry coming across the water, ready to board. And we've got a good 10 minutes yet. So it's time to find out if the Pulsar is as good as we say she is. Will we make the ferry? Michelle's left behind, I'm not waiting for her. Come on, Michelle. Come on, Michelle. It's a mad road trip because technically I own both the cars, so if something happens to the Subaru, it's on me. I hate being late, that's my anxiety thing. Last check-in's at 10:02, I want to be there at past. Michelle's the kind of person where last check-in's at 10:02, she's there at 5:02.
So as you guys have seen, I caught up with Paul and we've made the ferry home.
The car's got a lot of attention from the locals and all the tourists here, which I didn't think would actually have happened. And a few people approached us and said that they could hear the cars going up through the hills and they actually liked it, which I'm really surprised at. So thanks to everyone who came and spoke to us and gave the cars attention. It's quite amazing that this 34-year-old car and 20-year-old car can still achieve these things.
It just goes to show how much these old cars can bring us together. It's getting us out of the house and making us make the most of life. It's too short and you need to enjoy it.
Yeah, to be honest, without the channel, we've achieved so much so far, the Silverstone and all the kind of stuff, and this one just adds to it. Arran is absolutely amazing. I live very local to Arran, and if it wasn't for the cars, we wouldn't have jumped on the ferry this weekend and done the road trip. So it just goes to show how much that old thing sitting in your runway can help you achieve, make you happy, get out of the house and live a healthier lifestyle. So it is worthwhile finishing that car, get your toolkits out, work on it and start doing these sort of things. It's honestly, it's been amazing so far. And it's making us knock down hurdles. I suffer from bad anxiety and all the rest, no excuses, but it's making us smash through. So having you guys watching, we really appreciate every single person who views any of these videos.
So I guess when we get home, I'll need to pop away the blowtorch and the lighter. Paul, you might want to bring them out because apparently the Pulsar, apparently the Pulsar is more reliable than the Subaru.
Which, to be honest, at the start of this, we would never have said that. So in the next few weeks, that's not it for the Nissan Pulsar. It has actually achieved what it was supposed to do. It's been reliable. So with that promise in mind, I'm going to actually have to start spending more time and more money on it. We've got some things planned which we can now start to achieve with the car. And by the sounds of it, it sounds like the Subaru's needing some attention as well. So that will probably be featuring on the channel in the next few weeks.
Do you think you might wash it?
I think they all need a wash, to be honest. We just want to finish off by saying, encourage you guys to do the same. Bring a car over. There could be somewhere local to you. Get your car finished. This is the year. We always say this is the year, but this is the year. Get out there, start working on it. It is achievable. It's not as hard and as far. Break it into small parts and you can be out enjoying yourself just as much as we have this weekend over the last 2 days. So, the Pulsar has finally showed its true colours. She's finally showed her true colours, and to be honest, I took her a run because it had a misfire, no because of this issue, and this issue's presented itself. I had a slight misfire, it was running a bit, so I decided I was going to put it in and check everything because it's going to Scottish Festival of Motoring. But first we need to take it down to Danny to get paint. That's what this episode's actually supposed to be, but we've got issues. She's finally showed her true colours. I went to put fuel in it because it was low, so I wanted to eliminate that from the misfire thing that might have been running out of fuel. And then when I've came out, there's water. I mean, you can see it under here, Michelle, if you look under there. There was a big, huge puddle in the fuel station.
I can't see for the shadow of your car.
Anyway, there was a big puddle and I could see it literally pouring out down the fuel station. I've managed to nurse it back here and this is the situation where we're at. So it's going to be getting this fixed, hopefully, and then off to paint with Danny in this episode. The t-shirt, I actually got this t-shirt made for the Arran trip and I had it on when I slipped and fell. Replay moment. And I never got to show you guys, so I made an actual Pulsar Live t-shirt, and the one time I wear it with the car since then and it's broken down. At least it never happened in Arran. Right, so it's in. I know what coolant pipe it's going to actually be, so I don't know if it's moved or the Jubilee clip's loose or whatever. A small strip down will reveal, but I kind of want to relieve pressure so that I can, and it's also boiling hot, relieve the pressure at the hose by opening the cap. But have you ever seen a radiator cap being taken off and it blows up in your face? I'll insert a clip here of old Jimmy from a place I used to work at. He'll never forgive me if he sees this, but insert here. Hear it? Ah, we're okay. Jimmy must just have got a bad one.
That was anticlimactic.
I'm glad it's anticlimactic. It's still going to be roasting though, so. Yeah, that system's empty, man. We must just have got this home. The coolant was, the temp gauge wasn't high, It was sitting in the middle, but it was just starting to move, I think. So I think I've caught it just in time. Hopefully there's not much more to come out of this pipe and I can get it changed. So I'm going to remove the intercooler, get access to this pipe. Funnily enough, it's the pipe which is a straight pipe, which was in the Ruse Motorsport kit, but I didn't believe it was long enough, so I didn't fit it. I just put the original back on, and when I've put the original back on, this is obviously where the problems came. So we'll tear this down and we'll show you guys.
First thing to do is remove the intercooler elbows to gain access into the engine. Pretty straightforward. Then, to access the bus pipe which I have suspicion over, I have to remove the coil and the king lead out of the way, and now I can access the pipe. I'm praying I've got this correct, but we're in deeper water than I first thought, and with the Scottish Festival of Motoring just round the corner, it's pretty important that we get this running and get the car to Danny. I've used a pry bar at one end of the pipe and pulled with my hand to remove it from the other side.
Remove the pipe. As I was saying, I don't know if you guys will remember, when I was doing these coolant hoses, I had a straight pipe, and there was a straight pipe which runs either, is that the feeder that returned from the turbo, but I just felt that was too small. And if I hold these two together, if I remove this protective piece, you can see there is, there's a slight kink in that, and B, there's an extra 1/4 inch on it, I would say. And that's the reason why I put this one back on, but obviously you can see it was past its best, and it's game over for it. And I don't think this fits this, or does it? So maybe that would help if I could maybe even slip this into this. We'll try that, and then we'll put this one on, and then we'll try and bleed it up.
I'm just using some spray lubricant here to try and slip the protective pipe over our coolant pipe. But after about 20 minutes or so, it became an absolute pain, and it wasn't slipping over, so I switched to grease. And then again, after about another 20 minutes of struggling and wrestling, it still wouldn't slip over properly. I think it's because of the kink, but we do need to keep the pipe because it's protecting from rubbing against the thermostat housing, so I decided just to cut it in half and slide it on from both ends, which gives us enough protection.
Right, so I have just slipped that back on, a little bit of measuring style. So if Michelle brings the camera in, I'm just making sure that the bulge is there, so I'm on and off the pipe on this side, and the same down there, the bulge is up in kind of here, so we're okay with this Jubilee clip as well. What's happened is you can see a wee bit of flex in this pipe, so I've just put a wee bit of oomph this way to make sure that the pipe is long enough. I don't know if that was just used a wee bit of flex that might have been available in the pipe to close and grip. The hose will be gripping it, so that means that we've put the last hose on technically, and we should have solved the leak. And I managed to cut and slip that on and butt it, so it's resting against the thermostat housing, so it shouldn't be rubbing through the hose as well. So I'm hoping that that's a quick fix, and then we can go on to the next issue. I should be allowed to put coolant in this now. Make sure this is coolant and not urine, because sometimes when I need a pee I don't have a toilet in here. I have to do a wee in some old bottles. So sometimes when you own a coolant bottle, you have to make sure it's coolant and no urine. So you need to make sure it's blue and no yellow. As I said, I had developed a little slight misfire, and I've noticed some orangeness round about here. And if I pull out this plug, look, so it looks like water.
Can you use a wee bit of light on there, Paul, so we can see?
Yeah.
Damn.
It looks like water is coming through the vents. I don't know if I've got anything missing. It looks like water's coming through the vents and it's pooling in this area, rain, and then it's falling down in the spark plug well and it's creating a shit connection in there because that looks rusted in there, so I might need a new spark plug lead. And if I pull off the next one, it's okay, it's fine. So,
look at the difference between
I know, that's just a bit of water that's sitting in there. So, I'm going to pull that plug out, clean it up, put it back in, and what I'm going to need to do is I'm going to need to get a valve cover to cover this. Because obviously, can't have that. So I'm hoping that once I do this, that rectifies it. I've not had it running, and when it's running, if I pulled each individual plug, and you could hear it changing or no changing, you would know to narrow it down to that cylinder. But because we've burst the coolant line and I've got visual evidence of a problem there, I'm going straight for that, and then I'll run the car again, because when I came back from filling it with fuel to make sure it wasn't a fueling thing, it didn't misfire, so it's intermittent. So I think it's going to be this. So pulling the plugs out just now while it's no misfire isn't going to really do anything for me. So I'm going to pull this plug out. Now the thing is, I don't want any of that shite to go down in there. So you have to be careful. Yeah, a bit crappy. So you see a lot of moisture sitting on that, so obviously no good. I will change the plug as well, just I don't have a spare one just now. Also it's good because I thought it might be overfueling again, but I think we look not too bad there. If anything, it maybe looks as if it's running a bit lean.
I'm just using my little hoover trick here just to try and vacuum anything out that may be sitting down in there, because we don't want any debris or anything going down into the cylinder. And then I've quickly fired everything back together for the first start up. And then I can bleed up the engine. Hopefully everything's going well. If that is the case, we can take it down to Danny, who's eagerly awaiting the Pulsar's arrival. I've been using Nimmo's Coachworks for a few years now, ever since I've met Danny. One thing I've always struggled with is having a good painter and a good body shop, so it's always great to have the support of Danny and Emma behind us. As you guys will have seen in the channel before, Danny does all of my paintwork. We don't really trust anyone else. We've got a good relationship with him and Emma, and they're always eager to help us out. You'll have seen Danny and his team's work a few times on the channel now, as he's repainted the Subaru, the Golf GTI, the Integra DC5, the Classic Mini, and now the Pulsar. It's not the only project Danny's working on with me just now. There's a huge one to reveal later in the year.
I think we will all agree Danny's pulled it out the bag while I've been laying in the sun for 2 weeks. This car's had paint many times over, and Danny actually had to get someone in to scan the paint to match the code, and they achieved a 96% colour match, which I think Danny's done a great job here. After its visit to Danny, I'm confident this Pulsar is now sitting in the best condition it's ever been in my ownership. I'm loving working on the Pulsar now, something I never thought I would ever say. But now it's time for Danny to fire it all back together and see if we can make it to the Scottish Festival of Motoring, which is in Ingliston, Edinburgh. You'll all know I've joined JDM Scotland a few times on the channel now, but this year they've teamed up with Japanese Performance Car Club Scotland to make one mega club stand. These are just a small amount of the mega cars that were on display at the stand. The festival is a great day out, and this is the second year we've had a car on the stand, last year being the Subaru. We even took some time to go window shopping at the supercar section, as we've actually started negotiating on a car which is similar to one which is on display here. So keep an eye on our trading series to find out what's happening. To finish a mega day, there was only one thing that could put the icing on the cake.
Very well deserved. It goes to JPCCSC. Well done, guys. You were number one on all judges' scorecards.
It's great to see cars bring so many people from so many different areas and cultures together and just celebrate the one thing we all love the most. The club stand organisers put in a huge amount of work to get everyone in this stand ready, and it even finished off by doing some internal club stand awards.
And the next one to take a prize on the stand, well presented car always, 370Z Nismo Brian.
I'm just so proud that after 8 years of ownership, me and the Pulsar could actually enjoy something together for a change. And like I've always said, if it starts behaving, I'll do more and more with it. So now it's time to start modifying the Pulsar for the future episodes.
Check my head in to see. Oh no! Wait there, I've not got my mic on.
This is where we check how good my editing is to see if I'm actually in this shot or not. But we're back on the Nissan Pulsar GTIR. We've been holding back just with everything that's been happening recently, but there is some mods, improvements that are about to happen to the Pulsar, hopefully, if A, we've got the right parts, and B, everything plays ball. But we're going to be changing some parts in the interior, and we're also going to be doing some work in this area as well. So let's just get into the episode and we'll show you guys what's happening. I recycle the gloves, so I turn them outside in and then put them back the way, and then needs must. Because we're a poor YouTube channel. Right, so let's get the car on the ramp, but first let's show you in box number 1. It's actually box number 1 and bag number 1 because in this bag we need this to team up with this, and I'll explain what's happened. So basically we are going to be upgrading the front brakes to Wilwood 4-pot brakes. So we've managed to get some brand new second hand parts. These should be a direct fit onto the Pulsar brakes, and we're upgrading the rollers, or discs as we call them. These are a little bit pitted. They were very bad, but we had them vapor blasted. This is actually just to get us through to kind of the winter because, well, these just came with the kit, to be honest, so we'll just try to see if there's a little bit of life in them. And then we have got some big plans for the car over the winter time, so I don't want to put brand new brakes on and then it just sits all winter, because depending on what you guys have seen on the channel yet, depends where the car will be stored, because things are just crazy. So temp rotors or discs just now, and they have been vapor blasted, and these are going to team up with this box of bits. Wilwood 4-piston calipers, and these have green stuff pads in them as well, which hopefully should be bedded into the disc. I'm hoping all the parts are here, but something tells me they are not, and that could screw us. But you can see they're a little bit worn in places. I will actually refurbish these, but again, I'm going to wait until I do the back, because the whole back end is coming off this car during the winter, and we're going to powder coat everything. So I'm going to powder coat maybe even the front as well. So we're going to do all that in a winner, and we'll clean all these brakes and that up. So I just want to fit them for you guys just now, really, first. And they come with kind of braided lines, which aren't the best, but they hopefully will do. I always said if the car behaved, we will fit new parts. And then later in the episode, we've got part number 2, which is an interior job, and it's going to really set the car off. So we're going to do this first though, and then we'll jump onto that later.
First job is to remove the old brakes. I fitted these brakes back when I was an apprentice, but in many ways working on these old cars, I'll always be the apprentice. These calipers are held on with two 14mm slider bolts. With the caliper off, next it's time to take the pads out. And then the two 17mm bolts holding on the carrier, which didn't seem very tight. See? Apprentice. You can see there's not many miles on these brakes, and I'll be keeping them for spares. And now it's time to fit the Wilwoods.
So let's be honest, I've never done this before. So I'm not sure if it goes that way on this side or whether this should be on that side, but it's fouling against this wee kind of shield here. So Gesundheit. So I'm thinking that it must go on this side. And then if we take a caliper or a disc, I'm just test fitting and then I'm going to final fit. And also we need to pray that these fit inside the calipers fit inside the wheels as well. Or the bolt line's going back on. Right, it's got to be that side because look where the disc sits, it would foul against that.
Can you give us a light?
So if I had it any other way that would foul, so it's got to sit that way. So I think we can tighten this up now and then put a disc on there. So I'm just going to horse it up.
Is that the technical term?
Horse it. I don't think it can be as straightforward as this.
And I was right, these brakes ended up being anything but straightforward to fit, and they almost cost me an eye, which you'll see later in the episode.
Hold up! Wait a minute! Something ain't right!
I knew this was going to happen.
I said hi, them bitch.
That's miles away.
Right, so there's a wee bit of slack in that, see? I do like these seats, they're quite comfortable, but for this next task we need to take them out. So I'm just going to buzz them. We have put the brakes on pause for a second. There's something not quite right, and I don't want to break anything, whatever. That's why I didn't crack the bleed line and actually remove the flexi pipe. I want to make sure they dry fit first. So I've messaged the boy who was selling a set. Hopefully he can maybe help me out. We're missing something, or I don't know. I don't even have the box that they came in anymore because they've been here for months. So either I've put something on wrong or I'm missing something, whatever. But you would think those spacers would just, but anyway. Pause on the brakes till the later in the episode and we'll fix this first, because at least one thing's getting fitted this episode, right? So enough talking. I'm not going to show too much away because this should be a nice wee surprise, unless, what is it with this car? Unless you guys watched the behind the scenes episode, in which case you will know what I'm about to do. So the behind the scenes episode where we went to Dumfries Motor Show with Tommy and his red Pulsar, and I just want to say that Tommy was robbed. That was the best car there. Tommy's was the best car there and he was robbed, and I think we should start a Justice for Tommy page. Hashtag Justice for Tommy. Because that is one of the nicest, cleanest cars that I've seen, and it deserved a bit more recognition, shall we say. And the reason I didn't enter the show and shine was because mine was sitting next to his. So, if that's to say, I'm not winning anything.
And out comes the next one. Oh shit, I'm plugged in. Am I plugged in?
Yes.
Oh, it's right, that might be a problem for something that I'm about to do later. Now I'm going to show you guys the reason I need the seats out.
The reason I have removed the seats from the Pulsar is for this very specific reason. I'm so excited to fit this part to the car. It's something I've wanted in any Jap car I've owned for a long, long time. And I think it stems from back in the Fast and Furious, maybe Tokyo Drift movies, where I'm sure they run this. And it's quite exciting for me to have this in our car, because I think it's just going to make it look sick. And I never use the word sick, ever. If you come this way, I'll show you. Oh, we've got some bride seats. And I think they recline. Can you remember, Michelle? No. So we need to figure out how they fit in the car, but I do have, oh, these have the seatbelt clips on them. And these are genuine bride seat rail for Nissan, for the N14 seat. So these are extremely rare seat rails. So these, I think these are actually worth more than the seats, because I'm not going to lie, they're probably genuine fake seats. But I'm not bothered. So we're going to fit these seat rails to the seats and then into the car, and hopefully it goes better than the brakes did. So this should be relatively more straightforward, because I do have all of the fitting kit here. So this frame is going to bolt on there, and I'm hoping that it's left a washer mark there, and we should be roughly in the right place. I'm going to hold these two up. This is where I only have one hand, because my other hand doesn't work, so I need to just try and struggle in front of Michelle while she watches me. Film. You can't film either. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to pop it in. I'm not going to show you guys the finished results until both are in and it's sitting nice.
One seat in. I don't know how I feel. I think I've maybe got it right. And the good thing is, which I was worried about earlier, these have actually came with the seat belts attached as well, so I don't need to transfer them over. But I think I've maybe got the distance right. Let's see if the door shuts. Let's get the driver's seat in.
I've got Michelle's jumper on just because I've got a wee bit of a dirty bum. I've soiled myself. It's first fit. It's a bit of a shame that it's still up because we've managed to fit the seats and we've not finished the brakes yet, but I think, how do you think they look first? Go round, Michelle? I think they look good. I think they go good because of, look at this now, this is just like, it's a bit of a happy coincidence because we've got the white bride with the red logo and then we've got our logo on the back window here. So they kinda tie in there, and because we've got black on black and they're no too dissimilar from the back, so they don't look like in your face out of place. Oh, I'm so fat. Oh no. I don't like it. My knees are touching the steering wheel.
You haven't even started bringing it in yet.
Can I put that up? Can I pet that dog? No.
That's not a dog.
For sale, £1,000. So I'm a bit forward. As long as I don't need to change gear, brake or accelerate, they're pretty comfy. Kinda feels like that time I tried on your underwear, Michelle. I'm a bit fat. Bit too fat for your underwear. That didn't happen. Do I look good? Apart from the fact I'm 34, bald and fat.
But then yeah.
Yes! Is this a midlife crisis?
Could be.
No, there's a midlife crisis episode coming up at the end of the year. That's a real midlife crisis. Now this reminds me of the time I tried to get back out of your underwear.
Whoa.
Yeah, that's okay for me. My car.
Your car?
My car. I'm not buying it. You owe me a car.
I owe you a car.
You took my car.
Have you figured the brakes out yet? Thanks. Do we need to be that close, Davey? Is it bad?
It's just like a...
So to explain, that's a perfect circle from a 17mm socket, because we're back on the Pulsar. Oh, it's still the same episode. I'm maybe concussed. It's the same episode, but it's like 2 weeks later, and that's because the amount of problems that these 4-pot brakes are causing us on the Pulsar. So let me just wipe the sweat off. I can feel it through my teeth. It's hit like my eye socket and shocked all the way through my front teeth. Anyway, the show must go on. It's not the first time I've bled for the love of cars and to bring you guys content, but if you recall, earlier in the episode we were having problems with the Wilwood 4-pots. Now, just very briefly, I'm not going to dwell on it. The kit that we got, second-hand kit, we've looked into it, and what I have noticed is I've got 2 bolts here which look like genuine original ones, and we've got 2 that are cut and have been rounded, so they don't have the same clearance, especially since we need to space it, and the head size is actually different and stuff as well. So I don't have full trust in this kit. We've looked at the logo on the caliper bracket, which is here, there, BK39A, and these are actually for like 280mm discs, and these are 310mm discs that we're putting on. So I think that might be the issue. These brakes don't actually fit this car. Well, they do, it's just, you know, these discs. and the Scottish term is fannied it up, so, oh, that's getting bigger as I speak, I can feel it. So I have a solution, and I have ordered also, I've not got my microphone on, so I apologise if this wee bit of audio is terrible, but the kit that we had 3 one size and then one that's the wrong thickness and the wrong width and stuff, so it didn't tie in. So what I have done is I have measured these, and I have got new ones. These, they might be a wee bit thinner, they are thinner, definitely thinner, which I don't really like, but they are a slightly better length, which will give us a tiny bit more clearance, and if we need to space it with a washer, we can combat that with some new studs or bolts. There. So, and I've not just risked this, I've made a calculation and I've measured everything. So I've got new bolts, but I've bought bolts in 3 lengths, just in case we need to space it for whatever size. So these are all slightly different lengths. It's to make sure we're getting enough bite out of the bolt, basically. So the problem I was having with the bolts that were cut is that when they went into the carrier, they were only going in a couple of threads, and we need so much clearance, you kind of want a third, or so we need it to go in a bit more than 2 threads, and I'm not risking that on brakes. It's just not worth it. So we've got the new bolts, and the packet that I have burst to show you is the same as an uncut bolt, same head size, same thread size, everything. So we're going to build it back up, and we're going to get this on, blade up, and that should be us. We should have the brakes and the seats in. We'll take it somewhere, do some panoramic shots for you guys, and let you know how it feels, the difference, and is it worth doing for you guys. And then that's this section done on the Pulsar again. Happy days. So let's just get on with it. And what I'm doing is, I'm checking in here, and we've got 0.5, half a mil clearance, more there actually. So, making sure there's clearance between the disc and the caliper. There's half a mil there. And more than half a mil there.
Sure.
I'm going to see if there's a mil. Well, that's 0.95, and that's going in, so we've got a mil. Got a millimetre clearance basically there. Yeah. So millimetre clearance. Maybe slightly less at the bottom. But that should be okay then, to run that. So I think that is a winner, as long as the wheel now covers the piston, because I'm looking at that and I'm thinking that piston's sitting pretty heavy out, so and I've never taken my wheel into consideration. So I need to hope that the wheel fits the, stop looking at my eye, everybody. We need to hope that the wheel fits and gets clearance over the caliper, so, and hope that the bleed nipples free up. So what I'm going to do just now is, while I'm getting the brake line ready, I'm going to scoosh on the brake nipples to make sure that they crack off for us. I just need to hope that those are nice and free.
Now I'm confident I've sorted the clearance issues with the calipers, I can remove the brake flexi pipes to make way for our braided lines that we need to run these 4-pot brakes. One end screws into the back of the caliper and the other up to the steel brake line. There's some excess length in these braided lines, so we'll have to tie them out the way so they don't rub against the wheel.
Before my eye closes, we're just going to quickly take this off, strip it down and show you guys the results. So I'm just going to click my fingers, and apparently that just works. So right, so we have skipped, and we're at this stage. New line is on. I've just repeated the exact same process, I'm just going to show you guys inside. So I've cracked off the nipples. One's a little bit damaged, but I think we can get away with it. It just depends on whether or not it's going to hold fluid or not. But I will order a new nipple for one of the calipers. These calipers have two nipples each, an inside and an outside, so I'll show you that when we bleed it. But I have been jamming the brake pedal with a lever here to stop fluid from pouring out, just to save it while I'm changing the pipes over. So I'm going to take this away now, fill up the reservoir, crack the nipples, and see if we can get some fluid to gravity bleed through. And then I'll get Michelle inside working the pedal, and we'll see if we can get these brakes working. And then hopefully the wheels fit over the calipers, or everything needs to come back off, because I still haven't checked that. So I've managed to get the other side to bleed, but it's not quite bleeding properly, and I'll explain why. These are the nipples, and the fluid should be coming out the top of the nipple. Now, I think the nipples are pretty much short, and if you look in the back, that one's actually broken. That nipple there is broken. Take it out, Michelle. So that nipple there is broken as well. Now they are holding fluid, and the way it works is it's like a little cone shape, and it's seated, and it seats in, and then when you crack it off, the fluid, it allows it to pass through. Now I'm worried that the nipple's obviously broken, but it is seating because we've bled the other side and there's no leaks on this side, so I should hopefully be able to bleed this side. It's just that the fluid's not coming out of the nipple, it's more coming out of threads, so which means the nipples are clearly blocked. You could about with them and unblock them. I'm actually just going to order 4 because this one's broken anyway, but for the sake of finishing the video, which it's already taken 2 weeks to do, we're just going to bleed it here. So Michelle's going to go in the car, pump the pedal, I'll open the nipples, I'll shout up, down, and we'll get this bled. Hopefully the wheels fit, and then we can take it out here.
Moment of truth. Was all this for nothing?
That's okay. Is it?
Before bleeding the brakes with Michelle, I actually wanted to double check that the wheels did clear the caliper, or everything was coming back off and the old ones would need refitted.
You ready?
Yeah.
How's the seats?
It's like a giant hug.
Just bump it a second. And hold it down.
Right, so bonus footage. It's not essentially part of this video, but it's a little experiment on the Pulsar. This is a smoke machine, and basically the Pulsar still doesn't have the exact boost and stuff that I'm expecting, or that I've notoriously heard about this car. So I'm going to test the boost system. How I do that is I'm firing smoke through the air intake, through the turbo, through the intercooler, and it will pick up any leaks in the system which could be causing a boost leak. Also show air pressure, test air pressure systems for any leaks and vacuum leaks and all that kind of stuff. So because this engine runs predominantly vacuums and everything else, this kit should be ideal to try and diagnose something in that system. I've originally bought it for the Super Turbo, which we're due to go back on, but I've been using it to diagnose a few customers' cars right now, and it's been epic. And I'm still doing mods on the car right now, so I'm just going to test it while I have it here. So first things first, we put this cone into the air intake system. So I've got it in there, but I could disconnect it down in at the turbo and slot it in there, but the cone shape's just going to fit in there. I've got my machine powered up to the battery, so this is a built-in compressor and there is baby oil inside it. That's what I'm using to produce smoke, because it didn't come with the liquid, so apparently that works. I'm not too good with this evap thing here, which is some sort of control. I'm just producing smoke and firing it in, to be honest. I need to go back and research that. So everything hooked up, it's as simple as that. Basic bit of kit. You get fancy ones, but this is a simple one. We switch it on, and within a few seconds we should have some smoke. Here it comes. So what we're going to do now, I'm just going to let the smoke build up, and it should actually pressurise the system so that you can actually find finer leaks. I've used it a couple of times and it's shown some huge boost leaks or huge air intake leaks in a cracked manifold and stuff. But if it's a finer leak, it might take until the pressure builds up a little bit to show the leak. So with the cone in place, I'm just going to put my smoke in there and we will see if there's any issues. I'm just going to leave that and we're just looking for any smoke to arise in the system. I can see smoke. There's smoke coming. There's smoke coming there, look. There's smoke coming for somewhere. Where's it coming from? Watch it, watch it. Can you? I don't know if you guys can see it, but oh, is that coming out of there? Right, watch it, Michelle, to see. Can you guys? I don't know if you guys can see the smoke. It's coming from there. It's coming right under there. Keys the phone, or it's a burst intercooler. Because that's a fuel line. That one there is fuel.
When I removed the intercooler, I found something the apprentice Paul messed up again. The adjuster for the Jubilee clip has burst the intercooler. An apprentice mistake for sure. And you can see by individually testing the intercooler how much boost pressure we're losing through this.
Do you know why that is? There's supposed to be a bracket for the intercooler to sit on. So that's a part of the bracket there, and there is another bracket, but I think I've got pieces missing. So I've just always sat my intercooler on, and basically, obviously, it's rubbing against that. So I'm losing boost pressure through that constantly. The good news is, if there is a silver lining, is that I do actually have a spare intercooler, but I think, see, because there's so much heat soak happening in here, I mean, this engine gets really warm, and because there's so much heat soak, you are better moving to the front mount intercooler. I've heard there is a significant just making sure my light was on, making sure there's, I've heard there is a significant difference, but I don't want to core holes, to run the piping for the front mount intercooler, so the other option is to clock the turbo. And if you don't know what that means, it's basically if your turbo's pointing this way, you're going to clock it round a clock. You're just basically turning the position of the turbo. So if you clock the turbo, you can get a kit that fits without drilling holes and then rings and stuff. I want to keep the car as original and as whole as possible. So this test is going to be from the air intake through to the turbo. There is an actuator, stars in your eyes in here. There is an actuator and vacuum line on that, so we're testing to there. Then we'll test directly into the inlet manifold, and basically that will test all the vacuum lines in there. So we'll get 2 tests. Tonight, Matthew, I'm going to have a working Nissan Pulsar. It's queefing. This one's alright, look.
She's in. Shorty!
Slipping there. What's that scary movie? And you're all doing the windy.
Shorty, I know you ain't driving without no papers.
I got papers, blunts, bongs, all the ingredients.
Shorty!
Back to work now. Before fitting the new intercooler, which does have the bracket I previously mentioned, I fitted the injector clips that I've been missing for 8 years and have been sitting in my garage for the past few months. And then it's on with the leak-free intercooler, making sure I don't bust this one. Oh, and it's been that long, the bleed nipples have arrived in time to finish the brakes. And it's finally done. Time to practice some cinematic shots.